Fire for your mind. Kosher Clinician.
Fall comes to us in its own time. Fighters, keepers, losers, we.
Hit that like button and share this stream if you're not a beta male. If you had a woman, if you so then you 82. If you got married again, which I know you said you ain't. So all right, so hold on, man, because there's some young men gonna be listening to you. Why when you get married again, Dad?
I won't get married no more.
Tell me why.
Look, I was been married for 55 years.
59.
59 years.
Almost 60.
I get married again, shoot. Ain't no way. I'll be willing myself to get with another one. No way.
There is no reason for a man to behave like a gentleman with a suit. That's kind of the whole selling point. That would be ridiculous at best and wasteful and dangerous at worst. So that's the answer to the question that began this series. Where are all the gentlemen? They disappeared when the lady went extinct. And it wasn't men who killed her. Women have proudly fought tooth and nail to escape the social restrictions that define that identity over the past 60 years. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that modern women want the best of both worlds. They want the social freedom of the prostitute and the respectability of the lady. And that just doesn't make sense. Like, one person can't be both a lady and a prostitute at the same time. If these designations are to have any meaning whatsoever, they need to be grounded in objective phenomena. And while it's always kind of easy for a lady to become a prostitute, it's very, very difficult for a prostitute to become a lady. It is possible, like the Empress Wu, who started out as a concubine in Chinese history, but it is much more difficult than the opposite. So let's be real. The standard template for a woman's behavior in the sexual marketplace today is to engage in casual sex without commitment through their 20s and then settle down into marriage around 30. That is, they want to enjoy the social freedom of a prostitute for 10 to 15 years, and then they want the respectability of a lady for the rest of their lives. And unfortunately, that doesn't make sense to men.
A woman will know her worth, and their worth will not be an inflation. It'll be limitless. We'll all start putting you on the pedestals that my father put my mother on. That my grandfather put my grandmother on. That my great-grandfather put my great-grandmother on. You know why? Because I knew all three of them. And they revered these women. And they loved them. Sadly, all of these men had to bury their wives. And I saw them all weep and hold their hands while they passed. And the word hoflation did not even exist in our community during those times. You know why? Because the women were so awesome. It had no countenance. There's no description for it. It didn't exist. We can get back there. So maybe we can get to a point where we can throw this word away. We have the examples. We need to look to them. Some of these beautiful, elegant old women still exist. But Vince Ellison ain't gonna let you go until we get back to where we're supposed to be.
I only want you for the money and the coat and for the bills. That's it. If you ain't getting my hair done, if you ain't getting my nails done, if you ain't doing nothing for me, then I don't need you here. It's not 50-50. It's not 80-20. It's 100% to 0.
And they wonder why men are checking out in 2023. Focus on yourself. Get your mental health right. Get your passport if you can't find a traditional woman here in America, because guys, sadly, is getting that bad.
I don't care what you do, homie, but me, the next time I get in a relationship, I'm paying all the bills. I'm paying all the bills because a man should be a leader, producer, protector, and provider. A man should pay, in my personal opinion, every single bill in his household. And if he cannot pay every single bill in his household, he ought to be the kind of man that is striving to pay every single bill in his household. What his wife should be working for? Her nails, her hair, her leisure time, her hair, her nails, her leisure time, her bags, her sneakers, her trips with the girls, whatever it is that she wants to do. Her man should be the chief provider in his household. I watched my daddy do it. I watched my granddaddy do it. Now, I'm not at that point, but I'm striving to be the kind of man. Don't want to be a mediocre man. I'm going to be the kind of man that pay every damn bill in that crib.
Why else do you think men value virginal women more than anything else in the world? Simple. Because a woman no man has touched is one of the biggest flexes a man can have. This is why Akash was so bold and brazen and confident when talking trash to Fresh and Fit. Unfortunately for him, his wife had a higher body count than a Black Ops Navy SEAL before she met him, and he's clearly paying the price for that now. But I digress. In a world full of she belongs to the streets, if you manage to pull a woman untouched by a man, that's not only a rarity, that is currency. You see, men don't brag about the body counts of their women. They brag about standards. They brag about a clean past, a clean slate, a clean conscience. Because every man knows the truth, and that truth is that purity isn't oppression like feminists would have you believe. No, purity is value. That's why the same women who like to scream slut-shaming go definitely silent when an actual good girl flashes that 5-carat engagement ring. And women know the truth too. This is why they hide their body counts like it's classified CIA intel. Because deep down, they all know a woman untouched is top tier. You can call this insecurity, you can call it misogyny, you can call it whatever helps you sleep at night. None of that changes male preference. But ladies, you need to understand that men don't see virginity as perfection. No, it's about discipline. It's about temperance. It's about self-respect, impulse control, the kinds of qualities that are rare even in men. A woman untouched is a major flex because it shows she respected herself before she even met you. That's loyalty in advance, gentlemen, and this is powerful. Girls are all the time squawking, body count doesn't matter. If that were the case, then why aren't men lining up ran through? Yeah, I didn't think so. Having a woman that no man has known biblically doesn't make you old-fashioned. It makes you selective. A man of standards. A man with options. A man who can choose. In a generation where everyone's been shared, exclusivity is the new luxury. And if you had it, then fucking flex it. Because it doesn't matter how big your bank account is, guys. Doesn't matter how many supercars you have or how awesome your private jet is. A virginal woman is the most valuable commodity a man can ever acquire in his lifetime.
Ma'am, book a session.
Forever submit to you, Miles. I'll forever respect you, Miles. I'll forever honor you, Miles, as the head of our home. In heaven, they hear. On earth, I declare and decree, I shall be a submissive wife unto you.
For better.
For worse.
For worse.
For richer.
For richer.
For poorer.
For poorer.
We hit that snag about 20 times in counseling. Brill made it very clear to Jonathan, you cannot be broke. In sickness.
In sickness.
And in health.
And in health.
To love.
To love.
Cherish.
Cherish.
And to obey.
We didn't talk about that one in counseling.
We did talk about that in counseling. Yes, we did. So you want me to repeat that again? You want to just keep going?
I think we can keep going.
All right.
Hit that like button and share this stream if you're not a beta male. Fire for your mind. Kosher clinician.
Aside to become the kosher clinician, the story and the war cry behind the kosher clinician was similar to some of the struggles and the things that I've been through as a man. And some of you men are still going through that right now. There's a philosophical term called existentialist crisis. Basically what that means is that you begin to ask yourself the question, why am I existing? What is the purpose of my existence? And I think that's been the story of a lot of men that have not been more or less raised or under the tutelage of masculine men. One of the great indictments, guys, about the manosphere is that people assert and assume that the manosphere preaches misogyny and hate. But the manosphere is not responsible and was created a silo as an affront to women or black women. But the man still was a response to the pain and suffering that every black man was going through and continue to go through as we speak now. Once again, gentlemen, we are going through our existential crisis. Our country is in trouble. Some of you are in trouble, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And you're not ready to move to higher ground until you get the requisite help that's going to help you become the better version of yourself.
Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher, clinician.
All right. There it is.
All right.
Now hit it for me.
And it ain't culture. 7 in hell is what they taught you. We'll put them, and you can back up in young dose. Kosher, clinician.
All right, stop that. All I want you to say is, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. Say that first, okay?
All right.
All right, you ready?
Start over?
Yeah, start it.
No. Okay, if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher, and...
If it ain't 7, it ain't culture.
Okay.
Heaven and hell is what they taught you.
Okay, perfect. Do that again, but give me a little attitude. If it ain't 7, it ain't culture.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And action.
Young heads picking back up in young dolphin. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher, clinician. That was cool.
If it ain't 7, it ain't culture. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up in young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues. Absent fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you. All a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women clipping babies pretend to. Damn. Lovers, haters acting like vultures. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.
I had a good time going abroad with my dad. My sisters, we decided to celebrate our father because you never know when your dad gonna leave this planet. And my dad and I, we had a candid conversation. We had a very candid conversation, guys, a very candid conversation about my mom when she was living. But my dad explained to me why he would never get married again. As you guys know, my mother died this year. My mom was 75. My mom and dad were married for almost 60 years, literally almost 60 years. And the social contract was properly invoked back in the day. If a woman got married, there was an expectation. The guy that came in a minute ago talking about, doing all this extra stuff for his wife, well, that came with instructions. That came with a responsibility. That was not free just by default. And the problem with the social contract now is that some, and I say some, or many, or most, want the social contract, and they don't want to add anything to the metric that can make a man happy or keep a man in his masculinity. I told you guys before in the past that I don't believe that most men have ever had an orgasm. And I'm not talking about a physical orgasm. I'm talking about specifically a mind orgasm. Women of yesterday were better women. They weren't perfect, but they were superior compared to women now. One could argue that men of yesterday were also better. But the problem with men like Scott Galloway is that Scott Galloway often tells part of the story. He doesn't tell the whole story. And a lot of this stuff, guys, is tied to what's called occultic or cultic feminism. This cultic feminism has always been about rebellion. It's always been about the usurping of the authority of the man in the home. Some of the terms that people use now is partner. That term partner actually comes out of an egalitarian construct because woman was never meant to be a man's partner. Chivalry was actually tied into men being owners, but also being protectors of their women. See, chivalry, when men were chivalrous towards women years ago, it meant that that woman was under his authority. So you can't be under man's authority, y'all be partners. And I understand some people use that term innocuously. They use it and they don't mean anything by it. But as I said before, words have meaning. Women in the past were protected and they were venerated because the man had authority in that home and he had authority over that woman for the most part. And many times the women were very smart. They would use their feminine wiles. That man would go and work all day. Then he'd come home and give his wife the paycheck. But normally he would tell her what he needed to do, what he needed her to do with it. Or sometimes he would let her do what she thought was necessary. But that's when women were different. Women now are not like women yesterday because women now were beguiled by the serpent. Women now were beguiled by the serpent because they revoked the social contract. They wanted the benefits of traditional ladies while they still wanted to be modern and sleep around and do what they wanted to do. And I know there are people that get mad at me, because I'm very honest and raw. But I'm glad Dr. Ryan Taraban said this because some people might say, oh, he's a therapist and he's mean. No, I'm not mean. I'm real. I'm a real dude, I'm just giving it to you raw. I'm giving it to you how men would talk if we were in private or we were in a barbershop. It's time out that men are more or less censoring how they really feel for the sake of somebody's feelings. And Dr. Ryan Taraban is right. And shout out to my man, Peace for Life, for sending me this clip. Thank you for him for sending me this clip. But we're going to get into it, guys. As I said, guys, I just got back from San Juan, Puerto Rico via Fort Lauderdale. And I toured all the small islands in the Caribbean. I was in the Caribbean Sea. My dad didn't like the cruise. He said it was too much water. But we're gonna have a good show. I'm going to let you guys hear some of the talking points from my father. And I'll probably I need to figure out how I can, use this for some reels on Facebook, and maybe I can make this thing go viral. Maybe I can make it go viral. I don't know. But my dad was dropping some bars, and my dad is 92 years old. And once again, the reason why I'm so passionate, and I say what I say, because I use logic and precision. I don't get caught up in feelings of what people think I should say. The world was different in the past. And I know people keep saying, oh, it's changed and we got to adjust. No, we don't. If we're going to adjust, if you expect traditional men to adjust, then the women need to adjust as well. But sadly, they can't adjust because many of them have given their virtue away and you can't go back and undo what you've done. But many have been beguiled by liberal dogmas, liberal ideologies. And because of that, many are single and silent and angry and frustrated. I know listen, when I was on this cruise, I met a young lady. She was a nice young lady. She went to school with me. And she was 40 years old. Most women that were 40 back in the past, guys, they were already married. Most women that were 40 in the past were not only married, but they were grandmothers. You got a lot of women right now that are still single, talking about they're waiting for God to send them a husband. God ain't going to send you a husband, man, because you don't know how to treat a man. And many of you women see men through the lens of victimization. And many of you women see men through the lens of oppression. And no masculine man gonna pull up with that nonsense. A masculine man just ain't gonna pull up with that nonsense. And you know, when I see women that are single that long, it's always in my mind a red flag, because a woman should have been married by then. You have never convinced me that a woman didn't have men that wanted to marry her in her 20s as she was going to college, getting her education, and she could never find a viable man. You'll never convince me of that. So once again, they went from lady to mutant while chivalry is gone and no one cares. How many of you men still believe in chivalry? How many of you men still believe in chivalry? If you believe in chivalry, I want you guys to hit the like button and hit one, guys. So do me a favor, guys. Share the stream and also donate to the channel if you like what I'm doing. But how many of you guys believe in chivalry? How many of you guys believe in chivalry? Because chivalrous men often protected their women. They serenaded their women. But those women many times were under the leadership and authority of their men. Women now, once again, want all the benefits of chivalry, but they don't want to be under anyone's authority. And they are shocked that a lot of men are checking out and a lot of men don't care. And Dr. Ron Teraband breaks it down succinctly. He breaks it down, guys, very succinctly about why it's over, because the social contract has been revoked. The social contract, guys, has been revoked in dating and relationships and marriage. And a lot of guys just don't care. They don't care. They say, I'm good. You know, I'm not going to do all this lovey-dovey stuff, make you feel special. Because many times the women weren't taught to make a man feel special. They weren't taught to respect male leadership. They were not taught to honor male leadership. And because of that, a lot of men are revoking. They are revoking the social contract. They are revoking the social contract because many are saying that she doesn't qualify. She's not going to follow my leadership. She doesn't respect me or my male leadership. She wants the benefits of being married without submitting to my leadership and my authority, but yet complain that chivalry no longer exists. And Dr. Ron Teraband does a powerful job explaining how and why it's foolish to venerate a generation of women that want to be treated like ladies. But what he's saying is powerful because women back in the past that were really ladies, they never sold their virtue for the sake of, they never gave their bodies away or their virtue away for the sake of whatever. And listen, let me be honest, guys. I'm not here to denigrate people that made bad choices. Some people have done things with their bodies because of trauma, because they were abused, low self-esteem, or whatever. But at the end of the day, guys, the world does not owe you. The world does not care about your excuse. The world don't care about the excuses of men or the excuse of a man that went to jail for 25 years because he was trying to impress his girlfriend, and he loved his girlfriend. He sold drugs, and they gave him 25 years. You think the next woman care about that? No, she doesn't care about that. She's going to say, you're a felon, and I'm not going to date you, and that's her right. And so when a woman made bad choices because she was, you know, she lacked validation or she wanted validation from a man, and she gave her bodies to multiple men, you can't get mad at that man. And he said, you know, you nice, but you know, you can't be my woman. Because the world don't care about men, or the world don't owe men any kind of excuse. The world don't care about men's excuses. We have to deal with our issues and deal with our issues that have impacted us in a negative way. So let's get into it, guys. Do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button, share the stream. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. And share the stream, guys, as we get deep into this show. And shout out to my Carolina Panthers, guys. Shout out to my Carolina Panthers as they won on today. So let's get into it, guys. Share this stream, guys. Hit the like button. Show the Kosher Clinician some love. As I said once before, guys, I just got back Just got back from overseas. I was in St. Kitts. I was in Barbados. I was in Dominica. I was in St. Lucia, Puerto Rico, 8-day excursion, great time with my dad. And, you know, I want to honor my dad. My dad is one of the last OGs left. It's not a lot of men like my dad. I'm from that generation where women were better, where the women were virtuous, and the women honored themselves, and they respected male leadership, and they respected family. This generation now don't care about that. They're not going to do it. They don't want to do it. But they still want the benefits of male love, male protection, and male leadership. And that's why I call it, guys, taxation without representation. And I'm going to prove to you guys on the day why I feel the way that I do, while so many men are beginning to wake up. Shout out to my man Top Gun. While so many men are beginning to wake up, and while professional men like myself and Dr. Ryan Taraban and many other clinicians are actually having a very cogent conversation about how dysfunctional modern women have been, and while so many men don't care. So if you guys can see here, this is the Virgin Voyage. I have some more pictures coming up soon. But I was in, I just got back from my cruise. Good trip, good time with my mom, not my mom, my dad. Good time with my sisters, good time with the family, because I truly believe that we should venerate the fathers in our family. You know, the scriptures say, honor thy father and thy mother. We live in a world where people don't venerate the fathers. Guys, do me a favor, share this stream, hit the like button, donate to the channel, guys. Share the stream, hit the like button, and donate to the channel. Share the stream, guys, and donate to the channel. I agree with that, sir. I agree with that, David, the man, 5354. You're correct. Guys, if you want me to read your super chat, donate to the channel, and I'll be more than glad to read it. But we're going to get deeper into the show, and thank you to everyone that are watching and listening. But Dr. Ryan Taraban is a licensed psychologist. I am a licensed clinical therapist. You know, I'm not one of these fakes on YouTube that's up here acting goofy, you know, lying about my credentials. You know, I'm a real therapist, but I use a concept called edutainment to convey to the masses the importance of mental wellness and how urban topics are impacting tradition, impacting relationships, and while we got to destroy a lot of this ish that we see in society.
Yeah. Shut up, kosher. Yeah. Shut up. Whoa. Shut up, kosher. Ballin'. Take it back. Like it's game time. Game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin'. Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. I put in work, couldn't wait for my bag coming. 3 whole years and these records keep running. Don't talk to me if you can't match the numbers. Ballin', like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin', like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. I put in work, couldn't wait for mine.
Oh yeah, guys, I put in work. I put in a lot of work. It took me about 11 years to get all this education. I worked extremely hard. Many times I had setbacks. My dad is a hard worker. I get my hard work ethic from my father. I've seen my dad go do a lot of things, but you guys are going to hear it from my dad. I recorded him, and I think I'm going to do a long form video by itself at some point. And my dad going to explain why he would never get married again. Once again, I've been married for almost 30 years. I'm not against marriage. I think marriage is beautiful if you get the right woman. I'm not against it. I think marriage is a beautiful institution. But most modern women, guys, say that they just don't qualify to be a wife. They don't qualify. They don't want to add nothing to the relationship. They want to give, take, and don't give. Shout out to my man Gregory Scotland for showing love. Shout out to my homeboy Gregory Scotland. He said, salute kosher. Beware of this guy that you have on the screen. Scott Galloway is an opposition of men. He is trying to con men to come back to the plantation. Also men like Anton Weisberg. Yeah, I know. I saw that goofy ish. I'm disappointed in Anton, man. Because Anton, as much as I respect Anton, don't get to dictate to men about how they use their bodies and how they regulate their bodies. I agree with you 100%. I got nothing but love for Anton, but I get so sick of these goofy men trying to tell men what to do with their bodies, how to use their bodies, and trying to shame men and equivocating or falsely equivocating all men that travel abroad as being bad. Shout out to Greg with Scotland, guys. Don't let Gregory be the only one. It's Gregory. It's the #1 sponsor of the stream. Shout out to Greg with Scotland. As Gregory with Scotland is the #1 sponsor of the stream.
Follow me, baby. The elders are old and out of touch. I have the power to help you become the better version of yourself. Listen to me. I know what's best for you. I am the Snake Whisperer.
Many of them were deceived out of their virtue. They were deceived out of their grace. They were deceived out of their promise. And many now sadly will begin to suffer the recompense of their error. Shout out to my man Maurice Martin for 28982 for that 5. Thank you, brother Maurice Martin. Let's get into it, guys, about why so many men are checking out, while men are saying, like as Dr. Ryan Taraban said, the chivalry is dead, and while men do not value relationships and dating. Once again, guys, I am not... Yes, sir. I appreciate it, Brother Gregory. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Coach, I've followed you since the fall of 2021, and you have been consistent all the way. Yes. And I'm going to be honest with you, Gregory. It gets hard, man, because if you want to make money on YouTube, man, sometimes you get tempted to straddle the fence, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you. But I do appreciate your honesty, man. I strive to be consistent, man. Be consistent at a time when many are not consistent. Being consistent at a time where people will sell brothers under the bus for the love of money. Do I want to be successful on YouTube and make money? Yes, Gregory. Is it hard sometimes trying to tell the truth and also be consistent, but also trying to be relevant? It's very hard. But I am working on some things behind the scene. And until that, I'm going to continue to preach the message, tell the message, and try to encourage all men and women that want to hear the truth about what's right and what's wrong, and understanding what men are talking about. And also, guys, I plan to have Dr. Helen Smith on my channel soon. I'm trying to get Dr. Helen Smith on my channel. We're going to work something out. It's going to be a powerful show. I'm going to promote her book, Men on Strike, but also another book that she's written. But let's listen to what Dr. Taraban is saying, guys. And the person you hear talking is my father. He's been digitally modified to some degree. But this is Grandpa Kosher, guys. He's been digitally modified, so I wanted to protect his privacy. But I want you guys to listen to what my daddy said. I just got back from this cruise ship, guys, and we're going to get into it, all right? If you had a woman... if you had you, so the dad, you 82. If you got married again, which I know you said you ain't... So, all right, so hold on, man, because there's some young men going to be listening to you. Why when you get married again, Dad?
I won't get married no more.
Tell me why.
I've been married for 55 years.
59.
59 years.
Almost 60.
I get married again, shoot. Ain't no way.
Now, guys, this is my 82-year-old dad. My dad is 82 years old. As you guys know, my mom has passed away. Once again, guys, I am not against marriage. I think marriage is beautiful. But you got a lot of women now wanting to be treated like women 60 years ago when those women were superior. Most of them were virgins, wife ready, no kids. I'm not saying you got to be perfect, but you got to be flexible if you expect a man to be like my dad was. That's how I was raised. And that's why I'm so hard. I go so hard in the paint because I remember what the standard was. But keep listening.
There is no reason for a man to behave like a gentleman with a suit. That's kind of the whole selling point. That would be ridiculous at best and wasteful and dangerous at worst. So that's the answer to the question that began this series. Where are all the gentlemen?
And maybe they'll listen when Dr. Taraban speak. Sometimes being a black therapist, I think people minimize my brilliance and minimize my educational appeal. I like Dr. Taraban. There's an old saying that says, sometimes
that people believe that the white man's ice water is colder. But I've been saying the same thing for years. You can't, taxation without representation simply says that women want to be treated like ladies, or they want to tax you like ladies, but they don't want to represent you or themselves like a lady. I've been talking about taxation but without representation. I talked about the Exodus about 6 years ago, about 5 years ago. And that's all men are saying. But see, black men especially, and some American white men too, have been so conditioned to take less than. They've been so conditioned to take less than, guys. So conditioned to take less than. And anytime black men say they want to do something different, it's a problem. It's like, guys, it's just weird to me that grown black men are going to think they're going to these black gatekeepers going to tell black men what to do with their penis. Listen, I'm not for men going overseas fornicate, but white men have been fornicating overseas for the last 40 years, man. White men were doing this for years. They just kept it under wraps. But every time black men get ready to live their lives, and I'm not saying I agree with fornication either. So let me be real clear. I don't believe in that. People have done it. We all have done it at some point in our lives. But white men never get venerated or denigrated the way black men get denigrated. And so once again, she went from a lady to a mutant. She's a mutation now. You don't know what she is. You don't know what she is. She's been mutated by liberal indoctrination. She's been mutated by the traumas of all the men that lied to her and used her up. She's been mutated by having a broken heart. She's been mutated by having the kids of multiple men. She's a damaged woman. And you can't come into a relationship being a damaged woman talking about you deserve, not I desire, or I want to earn my way into a man's life. It's one thing to say I desire and I want to earn my way into a man's life. It's another thing to say I demand.
Gentlemen, they disappeared when the lady went extinct. And it wasn't men who killed her. Women have proudly fought tooth and nail to escape the social restrictions that define that identity over the past 60 years. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that modern women want the best of both worlds. They want the social freedom of the prophet and the respectability of the lady. And that just doesn't make sense.
That's taxation without representation. I've been talking about that for the last 40 years. I'm sure Greg heard me talk about it. Taxation without representation, the minimization of masculinity. Taxation without representation and the minimization of masculinity. And now all of a sudden, the white doctor, maybe because the white doctor said it doesn't sound as bad, because I've lost a lot of subscribers. I've lost a lot of folks because I tell the truth. And I it's hard sometimes telling the truth, man, doing content, man. Because if you tell the truth, you ain't gonna make no money on YouTube, man. If you honest and kosher, you ain't gonna make no money. You're not gonna make money because folks don't want to hear the truth. But what Dr. Taraban is saying is very true.
One person can't be both a lady and a prophet at the same time. If these designations are to have any meaning whatsoever, they need to be grounded in objective phenomena. And while it's always kind of easy for a lady to become a prostitute, it's very, very difficult for a prostitute to become a lady. It is possible, like the Empress Wu, who started out as a concubine in Chinese history, but it is much more difficult than the opposite. So let's be real. The standard template for women's behavior in the sexual marketplace today is to engage in casual sex without commitment through their 20s and then settle down into marriage around 30. That is, they want to enjoy the social freedom of a prostitute for 10 to 15 years, and then they want the respectability of a lady for the rest of their lives. And unfortunately, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they want the respectability of a lady. But people get mad. They get mad at the kosher clinician. They unsubscribe. They don't support the channel. They get mad because they don't want to hear the truth. You can't delete the skeet once it's there, guys. You can't delete it. You can't. Listen. It don't mean that Jesus don't love you. Some of you women, you're going to heaven. You can go to heaven. The Lord still love you. But can you imagine a man that made bad choices in his life? Can you imagine a man that made bad choices his whole life? Imagine a man that said that he messed with men before in the past, but the Lord loved him. The Lord forgave him. And he tell that to his future wife. That woman ain't gonna want that man. She's not gonna want that man. That man can say, I'm delivered. I don't like men's no more. I'm delivered. But that woman is not going to like that man because that man has been touched by other men's, not men, but men's with a Z. And that woman going to say, I just don't want that from my husband.
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more. I said I like women.
Yeah. She gonna say, he can say all he wants, that he like women, and he don't like men with a Z no more. But that woman is not gonna want to make him his wife. And I've done this little clip by Corey Holcomb all the time. You can't change your history. You can't delete the ski. It's sad, but it's true. You can't come in demanding virgin prices and talking about you a lady after you giving your virtue away for free, after you giving your virtue away for dates, after you giving your virtue away for a relationship. Just like the world don't care about men, that man that sold drugs because he was loving his girlfriend, he wants to impress her. Women don't care about that. Most women are not going to take you serious. There's some women that's not going to take you serious. Your dream woman is not going to take you serious if you're a felon and you did 25 year bid. She ain't going to take you serious.
Nigga ass, loser ass nigga.
Your video with comments about
He's a
certain
loser.
other female.
Just to let you niggas know, we don't need y'all. We want y'all, but we don't need you.
20 years later.
Our black men, we want all y'all back. Because we love you, we see you, kings, and most importantly, we need you. And most importantly, we need you.
And most importantly, we need you.
You can't.
If you a that's for the streets.
You can't delete the ski. You can't delete the ski.
I know a who used to suck dick.
Relationship, you can't change. It's one thing to come into a relationship and say, listen, I made some bad choices in my life. If a man decides to marry me and look past my flaws and my behavior, I understand that I might not get the man of my dreams. But I understand that I understand that I can broker my femininity. That may or may not help. But I can't come in talking about I deserve a top tier apex man. You just can't do it. And I'm gonna prove it to you guys and some of you smart women as well in a minute.
To men.
A woman will know her worth, and their worth will not be.
And Gregory Scott is my witness. I came over the word hoflation, and then folks started using it all over the internet. But I'm trying to take this channel places, guys. I'm trying to take. I got to go a different audience, man, because a lot of my old audience, I don't know. I don't think the analytics that they watching it like it used to be, man. I think YouTube numbers are down in general, man. Not like it was during COVID. People just don't watch YouTube like they used to, and it is what it is. But I'm grateful to the people that are watching today, and we'll get into it.
And inflation, it'll be limitless. We'll all start putting you on the pedestals that my father put my mother on. That my grandfather put my grandmother on. That my great-grandfather put my great-grandmother on. You know why? Because I knew all three of them. And they revered these women. And they loved them. Sadly, all of these men had to bury their wives. And I saw them all weep and hold their hands while they passed. And the word hoflation did not even exist in our community during those times. You know why? Because the women were so awesome. It had no countenance.
Clip that.
There's no description for it.
Clip that.
It didn't exist. We can get back there. So maybe we can get to a point where we can throw this word away. We have the examples. We need to look to them. Some of these beautiful, elegant old women still exist. But Vince Ellison ain't gonna let you go until we get back to where we're supposed to be.
I only want you for the money and the coat and for the bills. That's it. If you ain't getting my hair done, if you ain't getting my nails done, if you ain't doing nothing for me, then I don't need you here. It's not 50.
And guys, that's a culture-rated prostitution. That's why when folks get mad at black men for going abroad, talking about being passport bros or dating other women, and say men are buying cat. Well, you buying cat in America. That's what these dummies in America don't understand. Men that try to shame men, I'm not saying the men should do it, but I'm not saying men should do it from a biblical perspective, but the men that try to shame men for going abroad, shout out to my man, the Pookie and Ray Ray Show. Shout out to my brother. Shout out to him. But the men that try to shame men from going abroad, shout out to my brother, the Pookie and Ray Ray Show. Good brother. They try to shame men for going abroad. They try to shame them for going abroad. Talking about they buying cat. Well, you buying cat in America. What do you think this woman is? This woman is not a lady. She's selling her body for money. She wants you to pay all the bills, get her hair, her nails did, and she might give you some cat. And so that's just the long game. That's nothing but acculturated prostitution. But you get mad, but you try to shame black men for going abroad, exercising their rights. I know some guys go overseas and act goofy and do stupid mess. I don't agree with those men, but I'm not going to tell a man what to do with his body. That ain't none of my business. That's between him and God. When he's standing before God, he got to answer to God for everything he done wrong in his body, whether it be good or bad. But I'm not going to try to license men for how they live their lives, man. That's weird to me. But but a lot of these goofy guys want to be on Facebook thinking they have the right to police other men and tell other men how to live and how to move. No different than Al Sharpton. You get one or two Negroes like Umar or some black man that got a little money, then all of a sudden they think they damn smarter than everybody else, and because they say it, because they're famous or they're politicians or they got money, you're supposed to tap dance and kiss their behind. Come on, man. If I was a bum, ain't no man gonna tell me what to do. You're not gonna you're not gonna tell me what to do. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how rich you are, how much political acclaim you got. It means nothing to me. You know why? Because you're not gonna take it with you in the afterlife. When you stand before God, none of that mess gonna matter. And you will not denigrate me or tell me how to live my life. You're not gonna tell me how to live my life. I don't care about your money, your status, your prestige. That's this material stuff that's going back to the dust of the earth.
50, it's not 80-20, it's 100% to 0.
This 304 want a man to pay, and that's prostitution. That's what Dr. Tara Band is talking about. But she want a man to pay 100% of her bills. 100%, guys. But she's not a quality woman.
They wonder why men are checking out in 2023. Focus on yourself. Get your mental health right. Get your passport if you can't find a traditional woman here in America. Because, guys, sadly, it's getting that bad. I don't care what you do, homie, but me, the next time I get in a relationship, I'm paying all the bills. I'm paying all the bills because a man should be a leader, producer, protector, and provider. A man should pay, in my personal opinion, every single bill in his household. And if he cannot pay every single bill in his household, he ought to be the kind of man that is striving to pay every single bill in his household. What his wife should be working for? Her nails, her hair, her leisure time, her hair, her nails, her leisure time, her bags, her sneakers, her trips with the girls, whatever it is that she wants to do. Her man should be the chief provider in his household. I watched my daddy do it. I watched my granddaddy do it. Now, I'm not at that point, but I'm striving to be the kind of man. Don't want to be a mediocre man. I'm going to be the kind of man that pay every damn bill in that crib.
Why else do you think men value virginal women more than anything else in the world? Simple. Because a woman no man has touched is one of the biggest flexes a man can have. This is why Akash was so bold and brazen and confident when talking trash to Fresh and Fit.
So let me explain to you guys why you need to revoke the social contract. And when a woman damn coming, you talking about you got to pay all the bills. And don't listen to that simp because he don't know what he's talking about. Let's get back to the basics. You got a lot of women talking about they expect a man to pay all the bills. Ma'am, you're not getting all your bills paid if you're not a virgin. We might prorate it based on how many men you've been with and your age and if you got kids. But nobody's going to pay all your bills. You don't qualify to get all your bills. You can't try to shame men and talk about men being masculine when you were nothing like the women of the past. Let's look at the social contract. What was the social contract, guys, back in the day? The social contract was, under traditional norms, was sexual exclusivity. Women had to be chaste before marriage and faithful afterwards. But women now want all the benefits of chivalry, being treated special, while they act like modern 304s. Reproductive labor, bearing and raising children, that man's kids only, not somebody else's child. But you got women now that have had kids by other men. And listen, let me tell you women something. If you're a woman that's been traumatized, you make some bad choices in your life, you're not a bad woman, you make some bad choices. Okay, we get it. If a man chooses to pay all your bills, then you lucked out. But most masculine traditional men, and a lot of these Gen X, Gen Z, they're not paying all no bills. Most of them can't pay all the bills. And most of you don't qualify for a man to pay all your bills because you just don't meet the standards. Can you imagine if I tried to get into Princeton, guys, and I said that I had they look at my past, my academic past, and I have a 3.0, and the requirement is a 4.2, and at least a 1,800 on the SAT or 1,600 on the SAT to get in Princeton. And I said, you would judge me for my past. So I'm trying to tell Princeton what their standard is. And you got a lot of women that try to tell men what the standard is because they can no longer become the standard, or they don't want to become the standard. And that's manipulation. Chivalry was when women were under men's leadership and under a man's authority. But this feminism, this nonsense with feminism now, and black men never conspired with white powerful oligarchs and dark rooms with cigars and whiskey to oppress women. Black men never had power to do that. And black women lost their mind because they were manipulated by white liberals, and they drunk the Kool-Aid. And once again, feminism was never about, this current feminism, or even then, was never about equality. It was about power and subjugation. And a lot of this stuff, guys, goes back to the occult. I talked about it for years in John Milton's Paradise Lost. Lucifer had issues with the patriarch, the father, like a lot of these women, they are rebellions against their fathers. They are rebels against their fathers. And they don't want to respect the father. They want to tell the father how to run his kingdom. And I've said it before in the past, and I've said it when I had other women on my panel and also other men. If a woman wants to come into the kingdom of a traditional, righteous, masculine man, she got to be born again. And some of them can't be born again because the damage is already done. Now, and I'm not trying to be negative, but it's a reality. Are there some men that might accept you for your past or whatever? Yes. But you can't come in thinking that's what you deserve. And that's the problem. It's one thing to say I desire and I want to earn, even though I made bad choices. I desire and I want to earn versus I demand. Domestic labor. I'm going to prove to you guys that my daddy, when he got into my mama, was an enforcement of the social contract. You got women there that say, oh, I can't, I work all day, and I can't come, I'm tired when I get home. But your grandmama in the South was tired. Your grandmama in the South still adheres to that social contract, just like the granddad in the South adheres to that social contract. Granddad will work up from sun up to sundown. In the hot fields of Georgia, the hot fields of Mississippi, the hot fields of Alabama, and the hot fields of Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, and also in the Midwest. And my dad gonna prove it to y'all in a minute. They work from sun up to sundown picking cotton. And many times the woman will work in the home, cook meals, and still take care of her kids and have a smile on her face. You got women now that got all their accoutrements of a modern woman. They got microwaves, they got laundry. But the reason why these men are so weak, because some of you women didn't nurture them. You didn't nurture these men to be great. You want these men to be great, but you never poured into them. You want these men to defend you and to love you, but you never gave them anything to defend and love. But then you get mad because men now becoming indifferent and men don't treat you special. And y'all fought to be like men. Y'all fought to give all your virtue away, to give your bodies to multiple men. And then after you give your bodies to multiple men, you don't want to come back and talk about... you want to come back and talk about, I deserve a good man. you want to come back. You want to come back after you give your body to all these men's had kids by other men, did all kinds of debaucherous stuff. Tell a man that, he got to, pay all the bills. He's going to get some of your cash, which is nothing but a form of the P word. And then get mad because men don't care anymore. And then try to shame folks. They always talk about what a real man would do. A real man would do whatever. What does a real woman do? What should a real woman do? They can never tell you what a real woman should do. Domestic labor. See, when a woman gets married, part of the social contract was service and duty. Marriage is never about love. Marriage has always been about duty first. Not no love, it's about duty. You're trying to help that man build a nation, to build an empire. It's not about your feelings, it's not about your emotions. Not saying that a man shouldn't try to be empathetic to your emotions when it's necessary, but if you're constantly in emotional dysregulation, you're not fit to be a wife. When you got a man's last name, that was honorable. And many times that man would die for your love and to die for your honor. And that goes back to what I was saying about taxation without representation. It was submission to male authority, the father first, and then to the husband. This generation of women don't respect their fathers. I respected my father. That's why I took my dad to Puerto Rico, me and my sisters, because we honor our father, like the Bible says. But these women now don't honor male leadership. They don't honor male authority. Some of them don't even know who their father is, sadly, because their mothers were 304s. The mothers got with Raekwon, the man, and guys that they thought were cute. They gave men their bodies because he was cute. But then the good guy, you expect him, I'm not going to give you none until you married me because I want to be an honest woman. Man, you're not an honest woman. You already gave that cat away to multiple men. But then you're trying to resell your virtue. You can't resell your virtue because, you already got the skin in you there, ma'am. You already been tainted, ma'am. So you should be grateful that a man would show you any kind of love and affection, and be grateful, and be the best woman that you can be, instead of damn trying to demand to a man what that man should be. Shout out to my man Ray Johnson showing love. I just saw that for that $20 cash out, and also shout out to Revelated Spirit of Variance for the 5. Shout out to my brother Ray Johnson, as he and Gregory Scotland are the #1 sponsor. Guys, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I'm gonna show you guys some love in a minute. But submission to male authority, social conformity, modesty, restraint, and reputation. Let a man now tell a woman, guys. Shout out to my man Greg. He said, Coach, I think men should raise the standards for the exam. I don't think it should be okay with a man if a woman has been bisexual. Oh, yeah, I totally agree with you, Gregory. I agree with you 100%. And shout out to Brother Gregory, as he is the #1 sponsor of the stream. And also shout out to Ray Johnson for that $20 cash out, and Revelated the Spirit of Indifference. Shout out to him and Brother Gregory, as they are the #1 sponsors of the stream.
It's the money.
Yeah. I agree with you. I love that, Gregory. I agree with you 1,000,000%. Men need to start raising the standard. They need to be very kosher with their standards. I'm going to do a show soon called The 7 Signs That He's a Kosher King. Men need to start raising their standards and say, no, you just don't qualify, ma'am. You don't. You don't qualify. Because that was the standard years ago, and I want to prove it to you guys. Being a virgin, wife-ready, no kids was the standard. Those women got all bills paid. Those women qualified. Women that tell you that their past don't matter, they're trying to manipulate you, because the past does matter. I went to a prestigious school. I went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. This is edutainment for me. Clinical concepts using urban terms. But I couldn't go to Carolina if I didn't have a good academic pass. I couldn't go to North Carolina Central if I didn't have a good academic pass. I couldn't got my first degree in law enforcement. I have 3 degrees. I had 4 at one point. A certification in special education. I let it go back. And what Dr. Orion Taraban is saying, and what so many other men are beginning to say, is that you just don't qualify. Women for the last 60 years have never heard men say they don't qualify. They're nothing like their mothers and their grandmothers. Those women, I'm not saying those women back then were perfect, but they were better. But one will argue that those women taught this generation of women to be rebellious and not listen to the elders. And now their virtue is gone. Their virtue is severely gone. They're sad. They're miserable. They're lonely. They don't have a man to cover them. And they don't understand that shaming language no longer works on masculine traditional men.
Fall comes to us in its own time. Fighters keepers, losers we.
Greg, I think this is the super chat you were talking about. Okay. Thank you, Brother Gregory. All right, let's get back to it. So let's get back to what the social contract was, guys. Social conformity. If you got a woman that gets mad at you guys, and when you tell her that you're dressing like a 304 and she gets mad and she tries to shame you outside of your sovereignty, guys, that means that woman does not have proper emotional regulation. And that means that woman does not qualify to be your wife. She doesn't qualify. Because the word husband meant caretaker. Chivalry was for women that was under the authority and leadership of their husband. See, but the problem with a lot of women, modern women now, is that many have unresolved trauma. They've been liberally indoctrinated by white liberals and white ideologues. They project their trauma and they project their ignorance to other men that has nothing to do with what happened to them in the past. And many suffer from what's called cognitive dissonance. Many suffer, they have a very severe case of cognitive dissonance. And I created an acronym called DEAF, and I want you guys to listen to it. Cognitive dissonance is a condition that happens for a myriad of reasons. Many times in modern America, men and women often do one of the following. They deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue to ad hominem attacks, meaning they attack the messenger instead of the message. And they will fight you or flee because they cannot hear what you are saying. And conditions such as this, tied into cognitive dissonance, often happens to those that have or lack self-awareness. They stay in a perpetual cycle of arrested development, exhibited by this. Guys, that's severe cognitive dissonance. It's not really tied into reality. It's not based in reality. It's based in feelings, and it's based in liberal indoctrination. So they're deaf. When you try to talk to them, you can't talk to them because they don't listen to understand. They only listen to respond because they've been conditioned to see things through the lens of oppression, repression, and also they've been conditioned to see things through the lens of victimization. One of the biggest detriments in Black America is that many Black women tend to see Black men through the lens of mist on the color purple. They tend to have what's called a false equivocation of all Black men, and they think that all Black men are abusers, dusty, lazy, or whatever. But yet, when you look at their track record, they're actually projecting what they are themselves. This broad overgeneralization is often tied to ignorance, and it's often tied to the lack of self-reflection. And a lot of times because no one's never held them accountable. As I said before, my dad is 82 years old. We just got back from San Juan, Puerto Rico with our sisters. The women of that generation were superior to women now. We can also argue that men of that generation were superior. But also we could argue that a lot of the things that people said about men of that generation was it by genetic predisposition that they were bad men, or was it a trauma response that they never got the proper help for? And I would argue the latter versus the former. A lot of men that abandoned their families back then were probably dealing with trauma. A lot of men that drank liquor and alcohol back then were probably dealing with trauma. A lot of men that were complicit in domestic violence. Those are maladaptive coping mechanisms. A lot of men back then that used sex as a way to cope. Sometimes that could have been a traumatic response. I'm not saying every situation was a traumatic response, but if you look at their case study or look at their stories, I promise you, you'll see a pattern that's synonymous in their genogram to some form of residual trauma that was never dealt with. But once again, John Milton's Paradise Lost, Lucifer said that God was bad. And when I was on that cruise ship, guys, I was just marveled by the majesty of male men and the creation that God has given men to do. Men, listen, I can't create no cruise ship. Me and my sisters, we were looking at that cruise ship and we were saying, man, that's powerful. And not only is it powerful, it's very majestic. When you think about the power of that cruise ship and the power of what men have done, the power when men and women come together and women support the vision and mission of their husbands.
For him, his wife had a higher body count than a Black Ops Navy SEAL before she met him, and he's clearly paying the price for that now. But I digress. In a world full of she belongs to the streets.
Hold tight.
Personal opinion.
All right, something's wrong. Can y'all hear? Can y'all hear me? I don't know why I can't hear that.
Single bill in his household, and if he cannot pay every single bill in his household, he ought to be the kind of man that is striving to pay every.
Can y'all hear the video playing?
Single bill in his household. What his wife should be working for? Her nails, her hair, her leisure time, her hair, her nails, her leisure time, her bags, her sneakers, her trips with the girls, whatever it is that she wants to do. Her man should be the chief provider in his household. I watched my daddy do it. I watched my granddaddy do it. Now, I'm not at that point, but I'm striving to be the kind of man. Don't want to be a mediocre man. I'm going to be the kind of man that pay every damn bill in that crib.
Why else do you think men value virginal women more than anything else in the world? Simple. Because a woman no man has touched is one of the biggest flexes a man can have. This is why Akash was so bold and brazen and confident when talking trash to Fresh and Fit. Unfortunately for him, his wife had a higher body count than a Black Ops Navy SEAL before she met him, and he's clearly paying the price for that now. But I digress. In a world full of she belongs to the streets, if you manage to pull a woman untouched by a man, that's not only a rarity, that is currency. You see, men don't brag about the body counts of their women. They brag about standards. They brag about a clean past, a clean slate, a clean conscience. Because every man knows the truth. And that truth is that purity isn't oppression like feminists would have you believe. No, purity is value. That's why the same women who like to scream.
Nothing wrong with being self-sufficient until you can become interdependent. But what I teach my daughters is that I got a daughter right now that's going to NC State. All my girls are educated women. And I tell them that you have to be self-sufficient until you become one with your husband. But once you become one with your husband, it's no longer your own money. It's our money. It's not your money. It's our money. because when it comes down to divorce, the courts don't say it's your money. The courts say it's our money. It's a division of assets. And so a lot of boomers meant well when they told the daughters to go to school and get their education. Nothing wrong with getting education, but they should also have said that in the process of getting education, you should also focus on trying to be a wife. I teach my daughters to be self-sufficient, soft and self-sufficient until they can become interdependent with their husbands. I teach my daughters to become soft and self-sufficient until they can become interdependent with their husbands. Soft and self-sufficient until they can become interdependent. Because these women now have went from ladies to mutants. Chivalry is gone and no one cares. And you're hearing this from a licensed clinical therapist, but also from a licensed doctor, and Dr. Ryan Taraban out of California, because this is the first time in a long time where the world has not heard what black men want, and they're having a trauma. They're having a trauma reaction because they're not used to hearing black men say, "This is what I want." Black men back then were better. The women were better. The women were a lot better. But when you hear women saying, pay all bills and treat, no, your mama was superior. Most women mothers were superior to them. They're nowhere nothing like their mothers. They're lazy. They complain all the time. They're not chaste. Many have given their bodies to multiple men, but yet they want to compare themselves to their mothers. You're not like your mother. Your mother was a better woman. Your mother, I promise you, didn't have 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 and 30 bodies. I promise you didn't. Your mom didn't have multiple deletions. Your mama was superior to a lot of these women now. They were superior because they were under the leadership of the husband. But, all this hatred towards men, this hatred towards order, structure, and God, it's really the spirit of the Antichrist. It's a witchcraft spirit. And a lot of these women are broken women, and they don't want to be under the leadership of a masculine man.
Slut shaming go definitely silent when an actual good girl flashes that 5-carat engagement ring. And women know the truth too. This is why they hide their body counts like it's classified CIA intel. Because deep down, they all know a woman untouched is top tier. You can call this insecurity, you can call it misogyny, you can call it whatever helps you sleep at night. None of that changes male preference. But ladies, you need to understand that men don't see virginity as perfection. No, it's about discipline. It's about temperance. It's about self-respect, impulse control, the kinds of qualities that are rare even in men. A woman untouched is a major flex because it shows she respected herself before she even met you. That's loyalty in advance, gentlemen, and this is powerful. Girls are all the time squawking, body count doesn't matter. If that were the case, then why aren't men lining up ran through? Yeah, I didn't think so. Having a woman that no man has known biblically doesn't make you old-fashioned. It makes you selective. A man of standards. A man with options. A man who can choose. In a generation where everyone's been shared, exclusivity is the new luxury, and if you had it, then fucking flex it. Because it doesn't matter how big your bank account is, guys. Doesn't matter how many supercars you have or how awesome your private jet is. A virginal woman is the most valuable commodity a man can ever acquire in his lifetime.
Ma'am, book a session.
Forever submit to you, Miles. I'll forever respect you, Miles. I'll forever honor you, Miles, as the head of our home. In heaven, they hear. On earth, I declare and decree, I shall be a submissive wife unto you.
For better.
For worse.
For worse.
For richer.
For richer.
For poorer.
For poorer.
We hit that snag about 20 times in counseling. Brill made it very clear to Jonathan, you cannot be broke. In sickness.
In sickness.
And in health.
And in health.
To love.
To love.
Cherish.
Cherish.
And to obey.
We didn't talk about that one.
Shout out to my man Richard Mack for showing love. Fire for your mind. Hold for a minute. Shout out to Richard for that $9 super chat, man. Right. Married women go on vacations with their husband and their children's right. I totally agree. My wife ain't going on that. Why do men expect virgins when they're not virgins? Well, it's simple, man. Ideally, Karen Stick, men and women should both come in as virgins, but let's be real. Most women don't want men that are virgins. If a woman had the opportunity, Carrot Stick, to be with a virginal man versus a man that's had women, he was good looking, he was well known, had money and status. If a man say, I'm a virgin and I make a low amount of money, that woman would not want that man versus the man that's other women find attractive and he's been with a couple of women. Once again, my dad wasn't a virgin, but that was just the norm back then. There are double standards for men and women. There are women that have been with other women before. And like Gregory Scotland was saying, men should raise the bar for that as well. But women violate the social contract. Women violate the social contract, not men. And so women always want to keep going back and forth. What about men being virgins? Men should be virgins too, in theory. But the truth is, women are the gatekeepers to their bodies. Women are the gatekeepers to their body. And most men can't get a woman sexual unless that woman give it to him, unless he take it by force, he does something wrong. But women are the gatekeepers to their bodies. And women fought, like Dr. Tara Bann said, after the advent of the sexual revolution, to be promiscuous, to give their virtue away, and still demand what their mothers and grandmothers got and their great-grandmothers. And then they get surprised when men say, you don't qualify. I'm raising my girls to be chaste. I won't run to do women when I was in high school. I could have, but I didn't. I'm 6'5", 6'6". I won't run to do women. But they get mad when men say they don't qualify. And here's the problem, Carrot Stick, with a lot of women. Instead of asking men, why should men do it, you're not a man. You're not a man because we're not wired the same, or neither are we the same. A woman is not putting herself into a man, but men are putting themselves inside of you with his phallus and also his DNA. So there are things that women can get away with, and there are things that men can get away with. There are double standards for both sexes. So when women ask that question, it's really a foolish question. I mean, in an ideal world, men and women both should be virgins. But most women don't want male virgins. They don't. If a woman had the opportunity to be with a male virgin that had no money versus a good-looking, attractive man that had several women and other women find attractive, that woman want that man because women by nature are very hypergamous. Women by nature are very hypergamous, and many times they practice what's called carnal hypergamy. Most average guys are not having intimacy with women. Most average guys only can wish they can be with a woman. Most average guys are not having women. You got a lot of men right now that are in sexist marriages. According to some studies, 33% of men are virgins. So that means that women are giving their virtue away for free. They're giving it away, but then they want to come back and be treated like ladies. And then they get mad because men say, ma'am, you're not a lady. You're not a lady. Like this woman here, she's not a lady. Because women are born with their virtue. Men have to earn it. And once again, so many women have violated the social contract. What women were promised in return? Part of the social contract was what women were expected to give, which was sexual exclusivity, reproductive labor, his kids only, domestic labor, submission to male authority, social conformity. What were women promised in return? Provision, food, shelter, and resources. Women think now because they make their own money and they got their doctorate, their masters, and their bachelors, they think they're better than men. But man, guess what? Men created the world. Men created the cruise ships that I got on. Men created the infrastructure. The gun that you got, men created that. Even if you can get your own car fixed, men still created the tools. And 9 times out of 10, the person that's going to fix your car is a man. If every man got on a rocket ship and went to something called Planet Man, the current infrastructure that we have now would go under, because there are men that don't know how to fix things. I don't know how to fix a lot of this stuff. I can't build no ship from scratch. It took years of ingenuity, and it also took men that were apprenticed to do that. But just because a man is a man doesn't mean that he know how to build infrastructure, because that's not his skill. Most men back then were apprenticed. They were called apprentice. And so what the woman was promised was provision, protection, status through marriage, identity via her husband and family, and social legitimacy, respectability, and honor. That was the social contract. But women, they revoked the social contract because they rebelled against masculine leadership. Black women at one point were better than any other women in the world. I've always said there was no woman better than the American black woman, in my opinion, at one point. But they got in and drunk the liberal feminist Kool-Aid. And then you got a bunch of women that just had multiple deletions, been ran through by a lot of men, got kids by other men, got a lot of trauma and damage, and then they damn coming in and talking about what they deserve. I deserve a good man. I deserve a man to pay all my bills. But ma'am, you're not like your mother and your grandmother and your great-grandmother. Your great-grandmother and your mother were great. They were superior women to you. Your father was a superior man. And some boomers were wrong in teaching their daughters to pursue education outside of getting their MRS degree. They were lied to. So women revoked the social contract. And now men are saying, no, we're not going to take this current social contract that you guys are trying to give to us. We're not paying all your bills. If you got kids by other men, you should be grateful if I do 50-50. Because that's what the social contract was. And I'm going to prove to you guys, based on what my dad said, what was the social contract years ago. Because I've said before in the past, modern women want taxation without representation. They want taxation without representation.
We did talk about that in counseling. Yes, we did. So you want me to repeat that again? You want to just keep going?
I think we can keep going.
All right.
Ma'am, book a session.
Due to the fact that men make my ass itch, I have decided that I am single, celibate, and no longer willing to date anyone. However, if you insist on taking me on a date, there will be a $500 fee. That
Well, Karen Stick, a man can't be ran through, dear. Y'all women, some of y'all women are sort of on the slow side. How can a hammer be ran through? A hammer can't be ran through. And just because you feel some kind of way, that's fine if you don't want a man to spend with other women. That's fine. But you still don't get to determine what a man's kingdom is. Because if every woman got married today, 2 million black women would still be single. So you should be grateful if a man decided to make you his wife. But you don't get to tell men what the standard is. And let's be real. Most women have been with more, modern women have had more sexual partners than the average man have. Y'all keep falsely equivocating a percentage of men to all black men, which is a false equivocation. You keep talking about a few percentage of select men that are causing all the chaos. And then you say black men don't take care of their kids. Black men do take care of their kids. But there are dusty black men that don't take care of their kids, and that's a cognitive distortion and that false equivocation of all black men. All black men are not out here getting women pregnant. All black men are not abandoning their responsibility. Are some black men getting with a certain amount of black women that are allowing them to enter them because they like those certain types of men? Yes. But most black women don't like smart, articulate, hard-working black men until after they get ran through. And then after they get ran through, they want to come back and tell me they want a good man. And men will say, no, you just don't qualify. Because if I was a single man, you're gonna qualify to be my woman. We're gonna do a thorough background check. And for those women that say, oh, I don't want a man because he had women, that man fine. For every woman to turn down a successful black man like myself, if that man says he's been with a couple of women or a bunch of women, there are 20, 30, or 40, 50 women that say they'll sign up and say, look, you don't have to be with him. I'll be with him. Because in most cultures, it was an understanding. King Solomon look at all the concubines King Solomon had. Men have always had women. I'm not saying it's morally right, but it's just the way it is. And most women won't experience men. My mom was a virgin, but my father wasn't. And guess what? My mom didn't mind being with my dad because my dad paid all the bills because my dad got a virgin. And my mom didn't violate the social contract. Bless her heart. And that's what the social contract was. Women revoked the social contract. Now they complain that men don't care. Men are invisible. They don't want no relationships. And they're just focusing on themselves. And they're not used to men speaking up. And those same people that told women to focus on their education without focusing on their MRS degree while they're getting their education, now they're single, billing alone, and they've been used up. And because they looked their nose down on good average guys because they thought they were better than the average guys, and now they want to be the victim and blame everybody for their shortcomings.
$100 fee can be paid through Zelle, Cash App, or Apple Pay. I'll send you my phone number, and you can send the motherfucking funds. Then we can discuss an arrangement. However, if you decide that you're going to text me or call me before you send the motherfucking funds, you will be blocked.
You say that what's happening to men is a 5-alarm fire for men in the United States. Tell us what's going on as you see it.
Well, the statistics are pretty stark. If you walk into a morgue and there's 5 people who've died by suicide, 4 are men. 3 times as likely. We have a homeless problem and an opiate problem, but what we really have is a male homeless and a male opiate problem. 3 times as likely to be addicted, 3 times as likely to be homeless, 12 times as likely to be incarcerated. More single women own homes than single men. Women in urban areas are making more money. And let me be clear, we should do nothing to get in the way of that. But if we don't have if our young men
And Scott Galloway, and Scott Galloway, Scott Galloway is disingenuous because Scott Galloway is only skirting with the issue, and Scott Galloway is not saying that aggressive feminism is the reason why we're having these issues now. You can't ask black men to be masculine and build and be leaders when a large percentage of women, not all sisters, but a large percentage violate the social contract. They violate the social contract. They wanted their career over family, and they put their careers above family and their own selfish needs. And now they're single and older. And I see so many women now that are miserable and angry because they don't have kids. That house they live in, they're lonely. That car they drive, they're lonely. Many of them can't even paint the house or have a man that, they have a man to come in to do repairs around the house. They've been plowshared by multiple men. And now they talking about they want a man to come in and pay all the bills to make them feel special. Man, ain't no man gonna, masculine men are not doing that. I'm sorry, let's get over it. They're not.
continue to flail, our country and women aren't going to continue to flourish. And just a couple of things you brought up, loneliness and then role models. 1 out of 4 men can't name a best friend. 1 out of 7 men don't have a single friend. And what I would say is there's a lot of factors around this, but something to be cognizant of is that...
Can I just stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Is that unusual? Is that new?
It's getting worse.
You and your business.
And the business is for the girls. And the business is so that I can pay for them to go to school. That is why I'm doing this. That's why I make cards for Destiny's Makeup Artistry. And that's why I'm trying to support her becoming a makeup artist. Wait, you want to record it? Become a recorder. That's why I'm trying to make sure. That's why I'm trying to make sure that Gracie can go to Catholic school. And that's what I'm trying.
And guys, one of the new hustles now, guys. One of the new hustles now, guys. As one of the new hustles is you got a generation of women that say her money is her money and your money is her money. And let me tell you, man, something. I want y'all to run from a woman that tell you that her money is her money and your money is her money. Because if a woman is telling you that her money is her money and your money is her money, then that woman is running your program. She's a masculine woman and she's pimping you. Because the men that did give their women their paychecks back in the day, trust and believe those women took care of the home. And 9 times out of 10, that woman will let that man know where that money was going at. But this generation of women now don't want to be accounted for anything. They don't want to be accounted for nothing. They don't want to be accounted for nothing. And imagine a woman telling you, you're controlling because you're trying to lead her, because the word husband means to lead and to protect. And the money that you make, she's keeping her money so that she can divorce your goofy behind at some point. The Bible said, cast not thy strength to a woman. Your job is to lead her and to die for her and to love her and to protect her from herself like Adam didn't do. And if she want to stay with you, then she's going to fall in line. If she can't fall in line, then you get rid of her. You ain't got time to be arguing with no woman. Listen, I don't believe in no partner. I don't believe in partner. My wife is not my partner. She's my wife. When Adam transgressed against the Most High didn't say, Adam and Eve, where are you? He said, Adam, where are you? Because God gave dominion to the man. The woman was made for man. Woman came out of man. Woman's supposed to help man be the best version of himself. And on the back end, what the man gave the woman in the social contract, he gave that woman his last name. He courted that woman. And he would die for that woman and protect that woman with his life. But these chicks now want something for nothing. They want taxation without representation. They want taxation without representation. And a lot of guys are saying, nah, I'm good, man. I'm good. You don't qualify, boo. You just don't, I'm just sorry. You just don't qualify.
What am I trying to do? How much money have I made from Poshmark so far?
And how much have you put towards our house?
I put a lot of it towards the house.
Ginger, it's
Majority of it.
$7,000 a month. How much you put towards
The
the house?
majority of it I put.
How much you put towards
The
our
majority
house?
of it I put towards the house.
Doing
Robert.
what?
Doing what I'm doing.
What?
Every
You buy
time
more clothes.
You think all the money that I'm making goes back?
It
into
doesn't
this?
go towards bills because that's what I do every month.
It doesn't go towards bills. That's
So what
true.
does it go to?
If I had the money,
What does it go towards to, Ginger?
The point was,
put it on the video.
I'm
What it
putting
goes
it on
towards
video.
to?
I'm putting the
What
video.
does it go to?
Oh yeah, she'd buy more clothes. That's good. Listen, if you got a woman in your life, guys, and she hiding receipts, and she's not accounting for what she's doing with that money, that's called financial infidelity. No different if a man do it. If a man do it, it's a form of financial infidelity. When you're married, you're supposed to be accounted for, man and woman. But the man is the leader in that relationship. Kara says that black men have never paid all the bills. So they did pay all the bills, ma'am, because they were the only ones allowed to work for the most part. Most black men in the past did pay all the bills. There were some black women that worked outside the home. But let's say if they didn't pay all the bills. What's your point? Let's say they didn't pay all the bills. What's your point if they didn't pay all the bills? There are women in other cultures where the men may not pay everything 100%, but those women still respect their husbands. Because at some point, if a man can't pay all the bills, if that woman love him and respect him, then that man might retire you and let you stay home so he can pay all the bills. But most women now don't even qualify to get all their bills paid for. But for the most part, black men in the past, they worked the farm. They were sharecroppers. And so they did pay all the bills. They paid for what they could pay for. Black men and black women were side by side working together because they both were oppressed. But somehow, black women think black men had equal access and equal opportunity like other races of men. And whole black men accounted for something they had no power over because they were slaves. They both were oppressed. And women back then understood that. Here in North Carolina, a lot of black men were farmers, and my dad gonna talk about it, and they would allow their wives to go to school while they worked and then get their education. Black women were always educated before black men. And black men worked the farms. But if he did pay all the bills, him not paying all the bills does not invalidate your responsibility to love him, honor him, and protect and to serve him. Because either you're a wife or you're not a wife. A true wife is going to help that man become successful if he's a good man. I'm not talking about dusty black men. I'm not talking about dusty black men. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't need nobody to make me become successful. I've always been ambitious. I've always been ambitious. But what a lot of black men are saying now, they're just not going to sell anymore, man. And this woman in this video, this disrespecting her husband, I would never tolerate that.
I'm putting on the video. It goes towards what the girls need. Things
Like
that
what? I bought their clothes. I bought the
You
food.
don't buy their clothes. You don't buy all that stuff.
What do you
I
buy?
things, and I buy food too. And
Yes, for you.
Not just for me.
What have you bought to put in the
So
house?
you're saying I haven't spent any money at all in this house towards anything with my money.
I'm saying, see, you keep saying
I'm
your
asking you a
money.
question.
You keep
Well,
saying
you're
your
talking about
money.
my money from my business.
You keep saying your money from
yes,
your
my
business.
business from yes, 'cause-
Your money.
So your
it's your money
so
when
it's
you
your
make
money.
it, but
So it's
then
your
you
money
ask-
when you make it. It's your money when you make it. So I have to ask you for it.
Her money.
Because, Ginger, you can't balance a book.
I can't balance the
No, you
checkbook.
can't.
I can't.
No.
So before you, what did I do?
I don't know, Ginger. What did you do? Because that's all I do every day, 24/7. I keep this house running. 24. It's a 24/7 job.
And thank you very much for doing that. But
Really?
I don't contribute at all.
You get your nails done.
You pay for that too, right?
Now she's gaslighting. She's gaslighting. And a lot of these women, guys, just want the soft life, man. Let me tell you something, guys. Y'all know and I know there is no infrastructure without men. There is no infrastructure about mankind. So once again, guys, let me be real. As I said, guys, before, I just got back with my dad from me and my sisters. We took our dad on an excursion. We took our dad on an excursion. Hold tight. Y'all see this powerful ship before our eyes. When I saw how powerful that ship was, guys, I was amazed and astonished. Let's be real. The average man can't create this ship. Would you guys agree that the average man cannot make a ship of this magnitude? I want you to hit 1. Would you guys agree that the average man cannot create a ship of this magnitude? Hold tight. I want y'all to hit 1. But when I was in Barbados, if the average man cannot create a ship of this magnitude, we know the average woman can't do it either. And so women now have become so emboldened after everything that men created to say that they don't need men. And man, you do need men. You need mankind. You might not need a man, but you need mankind and the inventions of mankind. But see, a lot of women have been indoctrinated to hate men because it's a spirit of rebellion and it's a spirit of witchcraft. And you need mankind. You might not need a man, but you need men because mankind created this world. The house you live in, man created that house. The ship that I roll on, that I can't build myself, men created that ship. It was manpower that created the infrastructure. It was manpower that created the electric grid. It was manpower that created cars. It was manpower that built houses. It was manpower that built tools. And women years ago understood that, and they didn't have a problem with it. But see, a lot of women have penis envy. They want to be like men because they didn't realize that their true power was being a feminine woman. And those women are saying they don't need a man for survival. Oh, you still need a man for survival, sweetie. Because right now, if you gave every man a gun and you gave every woman a gun, those men still could destroy women easy. It would be easy. The average woman would get destroyed by the average man. She would get destroyed by the average man. But some of you women are so delusional because you're full of anger towards men. You're full of anger towards men, and you don't know your place as a woman. Just like Lucifer didn't know his place as an angel. Lucifer thought he could be like the Most High. But men created the infrastructure. And part of the social contract is that the woman was supposed to help him create the world that he created. And then Lucifer, no different than the modern woman, played the role of the victim when the man held her accountable. And that's all feminism is victimization, intersectional politics, and it's always the man's fault. My daddy never oppressed no woman. Neither did most other men's grandfathers oppress no women. But get over it, men created the world. Men and women are not equal. Men are not equal. Actually, all men are not equal. We're equal as human beings, but we're not equal in power. So Karen Stick said, in the past, women needed men for survival. I would submit that even the job that you have, men still created that job, dear. And you thinking that's optional now? The same power that men gave you, men can take that same power away. The same power that men gave you, men can still take that power away. And many are realizing that now. But black men never did it. It was white liberal men. White liberal men created it. They're the ones that created the infrastructure, gave these white liberal women power. They gave them the power to do the things that they're doing. I want you guys to listen to Dr. Taraban. So, Dr. Taraban, I'm going to review this.
Ryan Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is modern women. This is the second part of a longer discussion on where all the gentlemen have gone. So if you haven't already, please check out the first installment, Death of the Lady, before continuing. Let's get to it. As previously discussed, there have historically been...
Hold tight. Let's start over.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is modern women. This is the second part of a longer discussion on where all the gentlemen have gone. So if you haven't already, please check out the first installment, Death of the Lady, before continuing. Let's get to it. As previously discussed, there have historically been two categories of women in the sexual marketplace: ladies and prostitutes. The main difference between a lady and a prostitute was that a lady did not have sex prior to marriage.
Right.
And given the very negative potential consequences for an unwed mother, there were far more ladies than prostitutes in the sexual marketplace for a long time. Women like sex just as much as men do.
Right.
But the fear of this terrible outcome, in conjunction with a familial or social structure that supported them in their ability to transact at a higher price point, meaning that ladies were much more likely to come from upper class families, kept many women from succumbing to temptation.
Right.
And her first line of defense was taking offense at, let's say, ungentlemanly.
Now, maybe what Dr. Taraban saying, because he's the white man. Shout out to Dr. Taraban. I've only had Dr. Taraban on my show. But me being a black therapist, if I said the same thing that Dr. Taraban is saying, I'm the bad guy. But maybe because he's a white doctor, maybe they'll be a little more open to him. Because I'm basically saying the same thing that Dr. Taraban is saying. I've been saying this forever about taxation without representation. I just use different verbiage.
Propositions. Consider, for instance, how a lady of the 19th century might respond to a proposal based on a successful modern courtship. Let's see. What's a good outcome by today's standards? How about this? The man plans a date and puts some effort into the experience. He picks her up, takes her out to dinner. Over the meal, he puts her at ease. He makes her laugh, asks her questions, tries to understand their shared values. He wants a relationship and seems to care about the woman's feelings. He's clearly attracted to her, but he doesn't want to move too fast. So they go on 1 date, 2 dates, 3 dates. Finally, at the end of the 3rd date, he invites her in for a cup of tea, and the two give in to their desires and sleep together. So what's the point? My point is, exactly. Share this summary with most modern women, and this sounds unproblematic.
Right.
Possibly even desirable.
Right.
They probably wouldn't feel anything's wrong here. However, if you were to share this summary with a 19th century lady,
right,
you'd end up getting slapped.
Right.
You think the price of my womanhood is 3 dates?
Right. And that's been my whole point. That's my whole point. These women talking about they ladies. They want to be treated like ladies. But not only after 3 dates, they give that cat away. And I understand some men put pressure on them, but women, y'all created the market that men are putting pressure on. Y'all created that market because y'all fought to be like men because you were not secure in your femininity. And I don't care if you had a boyfriend or boyfriends, you still are not the same as women of yesterday. If you're giving your virtue away, you can't come into no relationship talking about a man paying all the bills. But only weak black men that don't have no standards, and because we live in a matriarchal society, a matriarchal culture where they try to shame black men into adhering to those standards. Only in America.
Who do you think you're talking to? How dare you insult my virtue like this? Go find yourself a good time girl in the red light district if that's what you're looking for.
Right.
And she'd kind of be justified.
And notice what he said, how dare you insult my virtue. The Bible talks about a virtuous woman, but somehow Carrot Stick said the Bible was written by men. Carrot Stick, you brainwashed. So I'm not going to even argue with Carrot Stick no more because she's brainwashed. She's been brainwashed by liberal ideology. So I tried to have a coaching conversation with her. So I'm not going to be responding to Carrot Stick anymore because Carrot Stick is brainwashed and she is indoctrinated. So it is what it is.
In this response, because you were talking to a lady as if she were a prostitute, in that you were expecting the possibility of sex in advance of a lifetime commitment of provision. After all, the man in the summary was not willing to exchange his commitment up front for her sexual opportunity, which resulted in an insultingly low bid for her virtue. But I don't think you'd find many modern women who saw anything all that problematic in this summarized process. And any modern woman who did act that way is probably a raging hypocrite, because chances are she's not a virgin, which means that she has already been willing to transact her sexual opportunity without a lifetime of commitment and provision.
Right.
And that means, despite...
And once again, guys, that was the social contract. Women violate the social contract. Years ago, 60 years ago, they violated the social contract. And they're worse off today than they were back then. And it's all rebellion because they're out of order. but that same Bible that was written by men told men to love their wives. That same Bible that was written by men told men to protect their wives. That same Bible that was written by men told men to die for their wives. That's why some of you goofy women are mentally ill. And you have severe cognitive dissonance. And you have severe confirmation bias. And you're severely dysregulated because you don't listen to understand. You only listen to respond because you have been severely liberally indoctrinated. And most women that consistently reject masculine leadership and authority, your father was not the man in that household. Your mama was. Your mama had your daddy was a weak man. You could tell women that had weak fathers because they're consistently debating with men and they don't have good emotional regulation. Their mothers ran that relationship. It will never happen in my marriage, in my life. You're going to follow leadership, sweetie. If you don't follow, I'm going to get rid of you expeditiously. And that's why I tell men to run away from the average American woman. Most American women don't qualify to be wives, white or black. They just don't. And some of the men don't qualify either because they don't know how to lead properly. Because they tolerate too much disrespect.
Any protestations to the contrary, at least according to the traditional definition, that she is no longer a lady. Women today use the word lady not to signify that they actually put sex on the other side of marriage, but to suggest that they have a relatively low body count, and that, after all, the cost of her sexual opportunity isn't cheap. Bud. However, as we've already agreed, it's not really possible to act in spite of the behavioral restrictions that define a group and still claim group membership. These women have exchanged their sexual opportunity outside of marriage and have received resources in return. These resources probably weren't cold hard cash, but they were resources nonetheless. Dinner and drinks, the thrill of passionate connection, the alleviation of boredom or loneliness, or literally dozens of other possibilities. Ladies do not engage in casual sex. I can't say it any more directly than this. Introducing my innovative first novel, Starry Night. Step into the world of painter Vincent van Gogh, genius, sinner. As you see through Vincent's are in the description. So what are we to think?
And let me say something, guys. I'm a licensed therapist, and I work very hard to get all my credentials. But being a black male therapist, you got to work doubly hard. And I'm not gonna say I'm gonna change my content, but when you put this it takes a lot of hours to put this stuff together, man. Y'all look at the finished product, but it takes hours to put this stuff together. But you begin to see disparities between sometimes our white colleagues versus the black ones. Some of the black colleagues get respect, but sometimes they don't. But what Dr. Taraban is saying is very true and profound. And you can't argue with mental illness, guys. That's why you don't argue with a fool.
Well, if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck.
Shout out to A Peaceful Life for sending me this. Shout out to that brother.
Modern women exchange their sexual opportunity outside of marriage, and they often proudly discuss their low body counts. They do this because they believe that their low number means that they're not prostitutes, like some sluts out there. But that's kind of like a murderer denying he's a serial killer because he's only killed like 5 or 6 times.
Maybe they get mad at the white man for saying it. Every time the black man say it, it's a problem. Maybe they get mad at the white psychologist versus getting mad at the black therapist for saying the same things.
You want a serial killer? Go talk to Stalin or Mao. I'm practically a law-abiding citizen in comparison. And that, of course, is absurd. I doubt the police would be convinced. You're either a murderer because you killed someone, or you're not. And it would be strange and potentially infuriating to talk to someone who has killed repeatedly, but who rejects the appropriate label. All this is to say that there are functionally no ladies left in the contemporary sexual marketplace.
Dr. Taraban is
According to my research, only 3% of people who get...
Yes, you're not getting a lady anymore, guys. You are not getting a lady anymore. That's why when these women try to manipulate y'all and say, oh, you're going to... Some of these women are older women. Some of them are younger. Some of them got kids by other men or kids. Some of them have had multiple deletions. And you talk about, and you want a man to pay, you want a man to celebrate, treat you like a lady, but yet you never acted like a lady. You want a man to pay all your bills and court you, but you don't deserve to be courted. You just don't meet that standard, and it's okay. You just got to adjust your standards and be more humble. And if you get with a decent man that's going to love you and treat you well, then he said, listen, we'll go 60-40 or 50-50. You should be grateful because you don't deserve 100%. Now, if you met all the criteria and the standards, then, like my mama deserved to have 100% of the bills paid. And it was hard on my dad to do it, did it. But he did it. But even back then, it was hard to do it. And even so now, it's almost impossible for a man to pay 100% of the bills unless he got a high-end job. Unless he lives in a rural area, but he lives in urban cities like New York, Chicago, California, some of these big urban cities. It's almost impossible. It takes 2 incomes now, and so stop there. I'm telling men, pay all bills. You don't deserve to get all your bills paid, because most of the women now, they're trying to tell you how to run your program, instead of you stay your behind down and become what that man needs you to become and to become part of his program. Man wasn't made for woman. Woman was made for man. And it's so bad now, guys, they're trying to say that God is a woman now. These heifers are so demented, trying to say that God is a woman.
Married are virgins, and that percentage includes both men and women. And as I discussed in my episode, Body Count, even the absence of penetrative intercourse does not guarantee purity or inexperience. So I would argue that fewer than 1 in 100 women can consider themselves ladies under the old definition, in the sense that they have refused to transact sexual experiences outside of that level of commitment. This means the lady is functionally extinct. She does not exist anymore. This isn't necessarily a problem. Everything has its pros and cons, but it does render the gentleman obsolete. There is no need for that social fiction without its counterpart. Like, there is no reason for a man to behave like a gentleman with a prostitute.
Right, exactly.
That's kind of the whole selling point.
Tell them, Dr.
That would be ridiculous at best and wasteful and dangerous at worst. So that's the answer to the question that began this series. Where are all the gentlemen? They disappeared.
They disappeared
when the lady went extinct.
Yeah, when the lady went extinct.
And it wasn't men who killed her.
Women
have proudly fought tooth and nail to escape the
Yeah, maybe they would listen to Dr. Teraband, the white doctor, versus the black therapist. Because he's correct. Because they left their first place trying to be like men. Because they were the ones that were deceived. They were the ones that were gullible. Prior to the Lyndon B. Johnson administration, black men and black women were doing well together. But black women wanted to be like Miss Ann. And that mental illness, guys, is unreal because they always have a deficit mindset.
Follow me, baby. The elders are old and out of touch. I have the power to help you become the better version of yourself. Listen to me. I know what's best for you. I am the Snake Whisperer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They were deceived by occultic feminism.
Social restrictions that define that identity over the past 60 years. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that modern women want the best of both worlds.
They want the best of both worlds.
They want the social freedom of the prostitute and the respectability of the lady.
You can't have it both ways. The master teacher said you can't serve two masters. Either you're going to love one and hate the other. I call it taxation without representation into mental oppression and the minimization of the modern man. Men, you need to start raising your standards. You need to get thorough background checks. If you've done the work, and if you know you've done the work, if you're a good, solid man, I'm not talking about dusty men. I'm talking about hardworking, blue-collar men and white-collar men.
And that just doesn't make sense. Like, one person can't be both a lady and a prostitute at the same time. If these designations are to have any meaning whatsoever, they need to be grounded in objective phenomena. And while it's always kind of easy for a lady to become a prostitute, it's very, very difficult for a prostitute to become a lady. It is possible, like the Empress Wu, who started out as a concubine in Chinese history, but it is much more difficult than the opposite. So let's be real. The standard template for women's behavior in the sexual marketplace today is to engage in casual sex without commitment through their 20s and then settle down into marriage around 30. That is, they want to enjoy the social freedom of a prostitute for 10 to 15 years, and then they want the respectability of a lady for the rest of their lives.
That is the hustle game. And that's what meaning peace of life we're talking about. And that's why I'm not paying all no bills. And neither should you. Nobody's not paying all no bills. I'm gonna do a thorough audit of your life if you're gonna be my woman. And I'm gonna make a determination of whether or not you qualify. Just like you got the right to say I don't qualify. It won't bother me. It won't bother me at all. It won't bother me at all if a woman tells me I don't qualify. I'm gonna get my bag up, get my body in shape, and keep it moving. If I don't qualify, I don't qualify. I'm okay with that. Because most black men understand that average to above average black men, and I'm above average. I'm 6'6", 6'5". I'm highly educated. I'm on my king-ish. And not just because I'm educated, I'm a wise man. I'm from the old school. And so, guys, if you're a kosher king, then you can start demanding
like this.
Shut up, Kosher. Yeah. Shut up. Whoa. Shut up, Kosher. Ballin'. Take it back.
Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin'. Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. I put in work, couldn't wait for my bag coming. 3 whole years and these records keep running. Don't talk to me if you can't match the numbers. Ballin', like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah.
When you're a kosher king and you put the work in, guys, you don't have to tolerate no BS, man. You don't have to tolerate subpar women. You can say this is what the standard is. Either you can be part of it, or you can keep it moving. And even if you didn't have a bunch of education, if you were a white collar, blue collar guy, if you got your own plumbing company, if you're an electrician or whatever, you got a right to say, nah, you just don't qualify. Black men got to start getting more tougher, man, and start saying you just don't qualify. Because in other cultures, the women earn their way to be in that man's life. And a lot of times those men are not making 6 figures. Only a small percentage of black men that make 6 figures. There's a small percentage of men, people that make 6 figures. Most folks are average. But average to subpar women think they deserve the top tier men. And then they blame a small percentage of men on all the problems they've been through. They'll say all black men don't take care of their kids, whereas a percentage of men that don't take care of their kids.
And unfortunately, that doesn't make sense to men. In fact, this is exacerbated even further by recent dating trends. The rise of soft life girls and women who say reject coffee dates and expect greater effort from men drive this point home. These women do not complain that men are expecting sex without marriage. They complain that men are being stingy with their resources. Does this sound like a lady who is upset she is being treated like a prostitute? Or like a prostitute who is clamoring for a raise? Let's do some math. Dinner for 2 at a high-end restaurant, $200. Taxis there and back, $60.
Well, guys, that's called home math. That's called home math, guys. Just like there's homeflation, there is home math. That's called home math. That's what that is. It's home math. That's called home multiplication. That's called home multiplication. Whole multiplication and whole subtraction. That's called whole math. I mean, delusional, man. I mean, they're just delusional.
After dinner drinks, $80. That comes to around $350 out of pocket. So when women today insist that they only consent to dates where they are wined and dined, they think they are communicating that they are high-value ladies who know their worth, when in reality, they are advertising that their sexual opportunity costs $350, which is actually on the low end when it comes to escorts in most major Western cities. On some level, this makes these women both unsuccessful ladies and unsuccessful prostitutes. They're unsuccessful ladies because a lady would not transact her sexual opportunity outside of commitment, and they're unsuccessful prostitutes because, well, the successful ones charge more. And that's where we are in today's day and age. A lady is a woman with a relatively low body count, which means that she's only transacted her sexual opportunity outside of commitment a few times, who expects greater upfront resource expenditure in the courtship process.
Yes.
And
right.
I think it's fair to say that this is so far from the original definition of the word lady that we probably shouldn't keep using it.
Right.
Though the residual connotation.
Dr. Taraban is correct. They're not ladies, because ladies were virgins. They were demure. They had feminine decorum. They made that man wait. They didn't give their bodies to a couple of men. Even if they had low bodies, you still don't deserve. You're still not a lady. because ladies were expected to adhere to a certain code. But, you know, whole math says, you know, whole math say, well, if he didn't stimulate my nether regions, but he stimulated my backside, I'm still a virgin. No, ma'am, you're not a virgin. If he hit it from the backside, you're still not a virgin, ma'am. Even if you kissed men and had intimate kissing conversations with men, you technically still not a virgin. I know the definition of a virgin is somebody that's not been penetrated, but you still have been touched. Mary was untouched. The Virgin Mary was a true virgin. Some of y'all are quarter virgins and 3/4 virgins, but you're not pure virgins. Mary was a pure virgin. Some of you women are situational virgins, and some of you are not even that. But Dr. Taraban is correct.
Are certainly beneficial to the women who have appropriated it. And this isn't likely to change anytime soon. Why? Because a woman who tries to put sex on the other side of commitment today is going to be priced out of the sexual marketplace, especially if she is not a young virgin. This is because she'd be making her sexual opportunities significantly more expensive relative to her intrasexual competition. And people, men and women, don't pay more than they need to for any given good. So such a woman would frankly have to be so extraordinary in so many other respects that such a strategy would be inaccessible to most women by definition. And besides, women have shown no indication that they want to go back to the way things were. Right. The general feeling here is that women should be able to do whatever they want,
right,
whenever they want,
right,
however they want, with whomever they want, etc.
Right.
The general understanding is that marriage is a convention that was based on patriarchal repression of women.
And here's the problem with that, guys. As I said earlier, there has never been a true black patriarchy. I'm going to say it again. There have never been a true black patriarchy from the macro level where policy is made, from the meso level where there are group dynamics where black men and white men are coalescing together. They definitely were coalescing at the macro level, meaning they were these rich oligarchs in dark rooms smoking cigars creating policies. Black men were seeing this news. Actually, policies were created to suppress black men. And some of this stuff came out of the CIA. Some of it came out of the occult. I'm going to talk about that at some point. But everything that mankind has provided for women, whether it be white powerful men, working class men, or whatever, the computers and the internet and any other invention that men created, women won't have the power to even complain about it if it wasn't not for the ingenuity of mankind. And that's what mental illness does. Some of these women are brainwashed. They are brainwashed and they have a lot of mental trauma going on.
Didn't get anything good out of that, being ladies. And any convention that restricts modern women's permissiveness is going to be perceived as controlling and repressive.
Yes.
And it's like, fair enough.
That's called paranoid persecution.
I also love my freedom a lot.
Right.
So I can understand why women would be loath to dispense with theirs. Nor am I arguing to go back to the way things were. They can't. The genie does not go back into the bottle. What I am arguing is that we all see reality as clearly as possible and make decisions in light of that vision. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. I know you know somebody who needs to hear this. Other value propositions. Anyone looking to join my free weekly newsletter, for which I write original content, or book.
All right, so I'm gonna start doing some Dr. Taraban stuff, man. Dr. Taraban killed it. Shout out to Dr. Taraban. He's a licensed psychologist. I am a licensed clinical therapist. But this is edutainment, guys. But there's a lot of unresolved mental illness going on with modern women. And some of them would try to manipulate you to make you think you're crazy. And some of you men have some unresolved mental issues as well because you keep tolerating it. You keep tolerating it because she violated the social contract. But Scott Galloway wants you guys to come back and be lovey-dovey and court them and treat them like they're special. No, man, you can't. What's done is done, you know. If you get a man to show you some love and respect you and give you a modicum of respect, you should be grateful. But you can't be them coming in demanding what you can't demand what women got years ago. You just don't qualify, and it's okay. You don't qualify. And look at this foolishness by Scott Galloway, because he, like somebody said, he's definitely a saboteur. Scott Galloway definitely is a saboteur in my mind. Hold on for a minute. Scott Galloway, guys, definitely is a saboteur in my mind. Because Scott Galloway is dangerous because he's mixing truth with error. Men don't need women. To survive, we don't need women. Men would be just okay. Men were calling animals before women were here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love women. I think men and women are better together. But we don't need women to survive. Trust that, we don't. Most men would be okay. Men have learned how to adapt quickly because we have to. We've had to adapt because we understand nobody's not going to accept us. But Scott Galloway is dangerous because he talks from two sides of his mouth. He has a forked tongue.
There's this cartoon of a woman in her 30s who didn't find romantic love and is now living with cats. The reality is she's fine. Yeah. When women don't have a relationship, they pour that energy into their friends and their work. When a man doesn't have a relationship, he pours it into conspiracy theory, porn, and misogyny.
Yeah, you can't trust this jackass. He's telling a lie. What he's doing, he's feeding the feminist narrative because he's extremely weak. He's probably being bought. He's part of the propaganda machine. And you can't take a man like Scott Galloway serious anyway because he's an atheist. He's a fool. He's a professor, but he don't have enough sense to realize that there's a greater force and there's a God. And so Scott Galloway's lying. There's no anthropological truth to verify and justify his point, even if it is talking about now. But he is empowering men and feeding the false narrative that women are far more capable. He's talking from two sides of his mouth, and it's double talk. And men like him, it's not only highly disingenuous, but it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And look, they can damn keep this gender war if they want to, but a lot of men are just checking out.
Men need relationships much more than women. So this is...
We don't need relationships, Scott Galloway, much more than women. That's a lie. Men don't need no damn relationship. And I'm going to prove it to you in a minute. We don't need relationships. We desire good women that are coming to our lives to help add to our lives, but we don't need that. That's a lie and that's a myth. This generation of men have been broken because they have not been raised under masculine conditions. They have been socially engineered. The testosterone levels are down and they don't have masculine fathers in the home. But men of other generations, we didn't need women. Sometimes we suffered in silence, but we figured it out because men by nature are problem solvers and we're fixers. But what Scott Galloway is doing is highly dangerous because he's trying to sell the narrative that women, even though men are going through a crisis, women still are greater than men. He's talking from two sides of his mouth.
How we get men more economically viable. Better tax policies, more vocational programming, and also, I think the public policy that would benefit men the most is universal child care. Because we need... The greatest level of self-harm, the zone of quote-unquote suicide for a man, is the year after he's divorced. And the greatest cause of divorce is not a lack of values, it's not infidelity, it's economic strain. We need to put more money in the hands of younger people. And my generation, which has registered a disproportionate amount of wealth, needs to pay it back.
Scott Galloway is a white liberal. His talking points are his data and statistics are skewed. Listen, data can be viable, research can be viable. Also, it can be skewed. If you don't believe me, look at eugenics, where the eugenics when it came down to distorting black reality, man. So you can't take Scott Galloway serious, man. He's talking for two sides of his mouth.
Any person you split the check with, you're never kissing. And I say this and I mean it, and I have research to back this up.
Men should pay for everything.
Right,
80%.
right. Scott Galloway, guys, is a simp. He's not only an idiot, but he's a simp. He's an idiot, but he's also a simp. Because you heard what Dr. Taraban just said. You hear what I'm saying being a licensed therapist. Why would you pay full price for something that's used? Why would you treat women like women were like the women? Why would men treat women like women of yesterday when women now fight to be independent, give their bodies to multiple men, disrespect leadership, disrespect authority, and pay for all bills? Nobody, listen, if a woman earns it, yeah, but Scott Galloway is always, Scott Galloway always talks about what a woman should do for a man, but he never talks about a man should do for a woman, but he never talks about what a woman should do for a man.
Of women
the fact that he does that, his argument is already skewed. That's confirmation bias.
Expect the man to ask her out still. And there's a courting ritual amongst all animals to say, I have valor, I'm interested, I want to show you that I'm interested, I want to demonstrate.
Sure, Scott Galloway, when women were virtuous, they were under a male's leadership, and when they were better women, Scott Galloway, yes, the men would pay the whole tab. When she was a virgin, she was raised right and taught by her father, and she didn't revoke the social contract, Scott Galloway. You're no different than the modern woman. You're delusional too, and you're trying to push taxation without representation. All this mess is liberal talking points coming from a liberal ideologue.
Demonstrate excellence, I'm paying. My 18-year-old son says, oh my God, you're such a boomer. Of course we're going to split the check. Fine. But just remember, any person you split the check with, you're never kissing. I stand by that.
You stand by that?
And I just find the whole splitting thing really weird. You want to turn a woman off, send her what it is.
And Scott Galloway, guys, is from a time when women were better. See, that's the problem with some of these boomer simps. I call them gravy train simps. These gravy train simps still think women are like women 20, 30 years ago. That's what happened with some of these gravy train simps. They are out of touch with reality, and they are out of touch with what's going on. And they think that women now are like women years ago. Women now are not like women years ago, Scott Galloway. You need to get with the time, Scott Galloway, and stop telling your son to pay for a tab. The women back then were better, Scott Galloway. And so Scott Galloway is on that gravy train simping. That's what he's doing. That's called gravy train simp. He's a gravy train simp where, everything was like gravy, everything was good. Stop telling men that, treat women special like women years ago. These women are not like women years ago, Scott Galloway. If a man finds a woman like that, so be it. But these women now are not like women years ago. Women years ago were good women. This generation of women are not. Scott Galloway is talking about women like this.
Fall comes to us in its own time. Fighters keepers, losers we.
Those women were quality women, Scott Galloway. But, Scott Galloway is a liberal. He's a boomer simp. And, I can't take a man serious who don't believe in a higher power, man, because that's a fool to me. I don't take men that don't believe. Even atheists now coming to grips that there is a God when you look at the cosmos. But I can't take a man like Scott Galloway serious.
This is on Venmo, the request for... Oh, yeah. And me, that is the biggest... I don't know what the equivalent of a boner killer is for women, but that's it.
Let's talk about Jordan Peterson Light. You know who I mean. Scott Galloway. I won't call him professor because he doesn't deserve the title. I know he uses it, but anyone who is an actual professor knows that he is a professor of practice. And for him to use that term outside the classroom is beyond pretentious. But let's go back to when Scott Galloway appeared on people's radar. This was back in the early 2000s when an email that he sent to a student at the NYU Business School.
You should never be at home. That's what I tell young people. Home is for 7 hours of sleep, and that's it. The amount of time you spend at home is inversely correlated to your success professionally.
Yeah, so anyway, enough of listening to white liberals like Scott Galloway. But anyway, guys, I'm going to show you something from my dad. This has been digitally modified. This has been digitally modified. And then I'm going to get off the stream because I got to go. I had a good time and taking me and my dad, and I'm gonna pull up some videos, guys. Me and my dad and family, we went on a cruise overseas, and it was good. My dad got on my nerves a couple of times, bless his heart, but but my dad's a funny guy, man. But I'm gonna let you guys hear what my dad said, because Scott Galloway is definitely preaching another gospel. And this has been digitally modified. This is my dad, but it's not my dad, if that makes sense. It's been digitally modified to some degree. But my dad's from a generation, my dad is from the silent generation where the women were different. They were different, they were better, they were more feminine. And this is what my dad say men got years ago, guys. Because Scott Galloway got it twisted. Scott,
if you had a woman,
this is my dad.
If you had a woman, so the dad you 82.
My dad,
if you got married again, which I know you said you ain't. So all right, so hold on, man, because some young men gonna be listening to you. Why when you get married again, Dad?
I won't get married no more.
Tell me why.
Look, I was been married for 55 years since.
59.
59 years.
Almost 60.
I get married again, shoot. Ain't no way. I'll be rolling myself to get another one.
and my dad is 82 years old. My dad understand that women now just want you for your money, your resource, and your retirement. And my pastor, my dad said he's good. Now I want you guys to listen to what my daddy got versus what men are getting now. Listen.
No way. Man, a fool do that. Been married that long time, you gonna get married again?
But is it because marriage was stressful, or you feel like it's hard to find a decent woman?
No, it's more stressful.
More stressful if you try to find one now.
Yeah.
Right.
These women now, they do what they want to do.
What were the good?
My dad said they do what they want to do. And so why would a man risk his time, his money, his resources arguing with a woman that want to be a partner, but still want to be traditional at the same time? Imagine somebody said they want a partner means 50-50. That's what a partner means. But they want 100% traditionalism when it comes down to paying bills and protection, but they want a partner when it comes down to power and the division of labor, man. That's some crazy work, guys. That's crazy work.
Things about being married versus the bad things. What was the good things you remember about being married?
Well, when I was married.
Yeah. What was some of the good things you? Hold man, I don't think this thing recorded. Yeah. So what were some of the good things about being married that you remember?
Yeah. We watch you kept the house clean, to cook, and you do what you want to do.
Right.
Now, my dad is talking about the social contract. He is talking about the social contract. That was the social contract back then, guys. That was the social contract. Listen to what he's saying. That was the social contract.
Do you ever hear stories of men talking about how their wives don't cook or clean, but still expect them to pay all bills?
I ain't never heard talk to you.
Their generation of women now said they don't cook, they don't clean. They said they still got a ring. Cardi B said that. She said she don't cook and she don't clean.
Who do that?
A rapper said that. She said she don't cook and she don't clean.
And look at her.
Right.
Got all these different children.
I know.
Got these different men. Can't stay married.
Can't stay married because she got all that DNA in her. Now, if you think about women back then, would you say they were a lot more kinder? Would you say women back then were more nicer?
Yeah, they were more nice back then.
So how were they more nice in your opinion?
Because they cooked, they cleaned up.
And most men back then paid the bills, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, would you marry a woman?
Now, my dad paid all the bills in my household. It was hard on him at times. So he had 4 kids by my mom that was a virgin. But my dad paid all the bills. And she deserved to got all the bills paid for. My mom was spoiled. My mom was spoiled by my dad. And he worked his behind off to the point sometimes he got sick. But these chicks now don't qualify, man. They don't qualify for that kind of treatment. And you men would be a fool to let women that are not virgins, some of these chicks are older women, and then I'm talking about you're going to pay all the bills. When you violate, the social contract is already violated, man. You can't expect nobody to do that.
Mom and dad, they say she was married before, but she had kids by another man, but her husband passed. But she wants you to still pay all the bills.
No,
Why would you do it?
Because she ain't no good.
She ain't no good.
So you know, good. So always being married and got children too. You know, wait, you stay on food, though. Everybody got any sense in this.
So what would be fair? What would be fair?
Now my daddy talking about, she expect the man to pay all the bills. Because once again, my dad's from a generation where he paid all the bills, but the social contract, my mama adhered to the social contract.
You pay 50-50, pay half of the bills?
I ain't paying nothing. I better not mess with it.
You just rather be by yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you do that you want to then, because they said they got you then.
Oh, they got you then. Once you say I do, that mask comes.
my daddy must be red pill, because they take, once you say I do, that mask come off, man. That mask come off once you say I do.
Comes off. They get fat. The sex stop, and they start talking back. They say, I got you now. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere now. And that's why I tell a lot of young men now. I said, women back then were better than, they were superior than women. Now I'm not saying they were perfect, but they weren't perfect. But what do you remember about your mom's mom, my mama's mom, grandma? What do you remember about grandma? What kind of woman? Because I saw some pictures of her. She was pretty. What do you remember about Miss Bueller?
She was nice.
And she worked in the field, right?
She had no choice.
Now, you know what? I know what I meant to ask you, Dad. I know what I meant to ask you. Would you say a lot of women back in the day worked outside the home, where either they worked in the field or they worked for the white folks, and they still cook and they still clean the house?
You know, Mark, remember back then, they cooked 3 times a day.
Say it one more time, Dad.
Cooked 3 times a day and work in the field from sun up to sundown.
Well, say it one more time, because I think the folks
cook 3 times a day and work in the field from sun up and sundown.
Right.
Now, my daddy's aunt, the woman that raised him, that was just normal. They didn't say, they had to work all day and because they tired, they need you to pay all bills. That's manipulation, guys. If a woman tell you, I can't cook you a meal because I got to work all day and I'm tired. Well, ma'am, you're not ready for the office of a wife, ma'am. You're not ready for the office. I'm not saying that it's not hard, but the social contract was about duty first and service to one another and being under that man's leadership. And women then, they did it. The men worked from sun up to sundown with a mule. Because my dad grew up in the country. He's 82 years old and he remembered it. And that's why I'm so passionate. That's why, look, I know things ain't going back, guys, the way it was. I understand that. I know it's not going back to the way it was back in the 20s. And it's okay. But in the meantime, men got to raise the standards. That's why I don't listen to some of these goofy guys talking about, paying all bills. I'm not paying all bills for a woman. They got other men's kids, and she been ran through. I'm not doing that. If that's what you want to do, that's your business. But damn, stop telling me and telling me damn pay all bills, because that's a violation of the social contract. Now, if she's a good woman and she's respectable and she's centered and she understands her purpose, then that's something totally different. I'm just being raw and honest. But women were different back then. They were more durable. The men were different. They both were better. But soft ties make weak people. And this generation of women are weak, delusional, and also entitled.
Now, did they?
Well, they both all back then.
Did they have microwaves back then?
Shit, no, they had no microwaves. Hey, the air come on the outside. That was their microwave. I mean, that was their, the air.
Right. So they didn't have microwaves.
No, they had no microwave. You know what microwave was?
They didn't have laundromat. They didn't have laundry.
Now, guys, I just came back from I want to honor my dad while he's alive. We just got back off a cruise with my sisters, man. We got back from a cruise in the Virgin Islands. And I want to honor my dad. He's a funny guy. He slipped up and said a bad word, but Maurice, look, don't keep talking. Carrot Stick. I'm gonna let Carrot Stick come up there. Well, actually, I ain't gonna let Carrot Stick there do that, because Carrot Stick is a liberal. She's liberally indoctrinated. Bless her little heart. And so don't argue. Don't argue with liberals, because they're brainwashed, man. You can tell she's a liberal, Kirsten, you'll never convince me that you have a masculine father in your house. You'll never convince me that you have a masculine father in your house, Kirsten. Either you being a troll, or you just being willfully obtuse.
Machines?
No, they had a scrub board.
Had a scrub board.
They had a scrub board.
Right.
Yeah.
They had a scrub board.
Yeah.
They would scrub it, and then they would do what? Run it through one of those little hand wash machines, right?
Yeah, but back then, something back then didn't have that. You just had a scrub board, you know, for scrub the clothes. You rain the clothes out and pull on the line. That's it.
Now, would you say that a lot of women complained back then, or would you say less women complained back then? Meaning they always complained, talking about they tired. Would you say those women worked from sun up to sundown?
No, didn't complain.
And so
didn't have no other choice.
They had no other choice, right? Those women were stronger. And most.
I barely remember, but back then we were not.
So would you say a lot of the men worked back? What did the men do back then?
They worked.
What kind of jobs would you say most men back then worked for their families? What kind of jobs did they have?
Back then they worked in the field.
They worked in the field from what time to what time? From what time to what time do you remember?
When sun up and sun down.
Sun down, right.
Yeah.
They also worked in what's called the lumber yard, right?
Yeah, someone working in the lumber yard.
From what time to what time?
Well, I really started working about 7 o'clock, I think.
They used to work for Lee Lumber Company, right?
Yeah, I worked for Lee Lumber Company. I worked to Lifton too. Lifting there with heavy seal. They'll call me to have us.
You mean not ulcers? You talking about hernias?
Hernia, yeah.
Right, but stress made ulcers though. But
so my dad had hernias, guys, from lifting heavy seals. My dad had hernias, guys, from lifting heavy seals where he worked at. But my dad worked like a dog. Had ulcers, had hernias. He worked like a dog his whole life trying to provide for his family. That's the generation that he came from, silent generation, 82 years old. Different men back then. The women were different. This generation now is god awful. And you got these simps and these provocateurs telling men, trying to police men about how they should move and how they should live their life. I would never tell a man how to live his life. Not my business.
So those men will work from sun up to sundown in the field. A lot of the women would do it too. But you say women back then complained less back then, or they complained more back then?
They complained less.
They complained less. Would you say they were happier back then, even though it was harder? Would you say those women back then were a lot happier?
They probably were happy.
Let me take it back. I'm not saying they didn't have some hard times.
Yeah.
But they appear to be more grateful. Would you say they were more grateful?
Yeah.
Now, do you remember men back then, Dad, that would work and they would send their women off to college? Do you remember the men back then that was while they would work the farm and their wives would go to school to learn how to read and write and be teachers?
I don't know. There's something wife in college.
So your Aunt Judy, what kind of work? So she had how many kids did she have? Your aunt?
My stepmom.
Your step aunt, yeah.
If I can remember, she had about 7 boys. I think about 7 girls.
Those women, my grandmama had 7 kids. When she had my mama and my uncle, man, she was in the field working, man. These chicks now got microwaves that men created, by the way, wash machines that men created, all the inventions that men created, they still complaining. Still complaining. I'm gonna stop this, guys. I'm gonna cut this up. I'm gonna do a separate show with my dad, not a separate video with my dad. But it was just a different generation, man. It's just a different generation, and y'all heard it from what's his name, Dr. Ryan Taraban. You also heard it from me, man. Different generation, and you just don't argue with fools, man. I would love for Kara Stick to come up, though. Kara Stick, I'm gonna let you come up. You got a lot to say. You be talking a lot of junk. Kara Stick, come up and let's have a conversation. I'm not gonna fight you because I would love to, because I know I know you're a liberal. So I don't know if you're a man or a woman, but I would love to hear from Kara Stick, because sometimes you got to let the devil talk. Yeah, she definitely a liberal. Yeah, you can tell by it. Liberals are them liberal black women are mentally ill, a lot of them. But Kara Stick, come up. I dropped the link. I want to hear from you, Kara Stick. I'm not gonna fight you, Carrot Stick. I would love to hear your story because you might got some unresolved trauma. But let me hear your story, Carrot Stick. The link is dropped. Let's have a conversation. Right. I got a question for her. Can a woman be a man? That's a good one. That's an excellent. That's a good one. That's a good one, Maurice. Carrot Stick, are you coming up? Yes or no? Are you gonna be that girl? Are you gonna put your big girl panties on, Carrot Stick? Carrot Stick, are you coming up? I'm gonna let you come up, Carrot Stick. The link is dropped. Oh, you scared? I'm not gonna bite you, Carrot Stick. I'd love to hear from you. Where you live at, Carrot Stick? All right, Carrot Stick scared. I told Carrot Stick I'm not gonna hurt him. Carrot Stick, men are bad. men are aggressive. I'm not gonna hurt your Carrot Stick. But anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Yeah, you're right, but sure, she definitely not gonna come up. You're right, but sure, she ain't gonna come up for sure. She ain't gonna come up for sure. You're right, because she can't defend the argument, man. Yeah, she ain't gonna come up. I want to hear from Carrot Stick. I ain't gonna attack her. Right, they never do. Yeah. I would love to hear from Carrot Stick because Carrot Stick been doing a lot of talking. So I dropped the link so Carrot Stick can talk. Because my dad just said that women back then were better women. He just said that women back then didn't do a lot of complaining. He just said they weren't ran through like these women are now. These women now got all this baggage and they still expect men to be chivalrous and treat them like they special, man. They still say they deserve a good man instead of say, I desire a good man to love me. I desire a good man to protect me. I desire to build a legacy with a good man. You'll be changing that soon by 2030, Carrot Stick, because these robots are coming. The robots are coming, man. The robots are coming. But y'all heard all that noise in the back. My wife was cooking. The link does work, Carrot Stick. I'm going to drop it again. I'm going to drop it again, Carrot Stick. I do want to hear you. I'm going to say it again, Carrot Stick. Only for Carrot Stick, guys. Because I want to hear Carrot Stick talk more. But I got to see your face because I got to make sure you're not a troll. Yep. My wife in the kitchen also cooking. But sure, that's where y'all heard that beat roll. My wife internalized her misogyny. My wife also cooking, but sure. My wife and y'all are pygmies, man. Y'all proud pygmies. Cause y'all internalizing y'all misogyny. Y'all male identified. Y'all male identified. Send me your email, Carrot Stick, and I'll send it to your phone. Carrot Stick, well, all right, Carrot Stick. She said, take care. All right. Anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed the stream. This was a good one, man. How did y'all like the show, man? Did y'all like it? If you like it, hit 1. If y'all like it, hit 1. Fried chicken, black-eyed peas, rice, and collard greens and cornbread, man. That sounds like a Thanksgiving meal. That sounds like a Thanksgiving meal to me. But sure, you want to take some pictures so I can see it, man. You want to take some pictures, but sure, so I can see it. All right. All right, guys, we're going to end it. Carrot, I wanted to hear from Carrot Stick, but she said the link won't work. I'll be Carrot Stick scared, man. But anyway, guys, we're going to end this stream, guys. Wait, hold on. What is he talking about? All right. Did you guys enjoy the stream? Very informative. Yes, I appreciate that, guys. Thank y'all for listening, man. All right. So anyway, shout out to my man Peaceful Life, guys. This is from Scott Galloway. But anyway, guys, we're going to end this. We're going to end it here. Thank you guys for everybody that tuned in. Thank you to Greg with Scotland being the #1 sponsor, followed by Ray Johnson, followed by Revelator, and followed by some other people that gave earlier, guys. So I really appreciate you guys showing love on tonight, guys. And we're going to end it here. We're going to end it here, guys. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. And guys, I'm trying to get Dr. Helen Smith on my channel at some point. Helen Smith is a lady that I've been following for years. I respect her highly. She's coming out with a new book. Maybe we can promote her book, and we can have a coaching conversation and look at things through the lens of what's called collaborative empiricism. So anyway, guys, we're going to end this stream. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will be seeing you guys. We're seeing you guys soon.
Hit that like button and share this stream if you're not a beta male.
When men fail to lead, the children rebel and the women take over.
My perfect man would be a tall, black stallion. He loves to cook because I'm not really a good cook, so that's his thing. He loves driving. He loves driving the kids to school in the morning. He's just really, really hands-on. With my kids. He's sterile because he can't have kids of his own, so he really cherishes mine. He's funny. We do movie quotes all the time. Every time we go around, we just laugh and do karaoke. He's smart. He is very good with the money. He takes care of all that, and he just lets me, make the beds. And
I told them the other night is trigger. Once you trigger them, the mask gonna come off.
The mask gonna come off. Yes, ma'am. I've seen it.
We've seen it. We've seen it.
I've seen it.
All you have to do is trigger them, and the real them will come.
The real them will come out. You're right.
Out the door. They'll start talking about your little ping. They'll start cussing. Right. Wow,
Girl, yes. Okay now, baby. Okay. Girl, yes. Okay now, baby.
Before there was the manosphere, I was. Before there was the internet, I was. I was that Sigma male crying out in the wilderness for justice and equality for those that are downtrodden and broken, those that are voiceless. I was the kosher clinician before I was the kosher clinician on the internet. My plight and my war cry for justice and humanity is nothing fake. But I've always been kosher. And sit back and get this kosher fire. Hello everyone.
Is there equality in America, fact or fantasy? First of all, I would like to salute all fellow human beings and most graciously those who are beacons of light for justice and righteousness. To vocally explain the tenets of equality, fact or fantasy, I must begin with the combination of two alphabets, I and F, which spells there's no respect of person, but gives protection to all them that fear him. So therefore I ask you this profound and non-scholastic question. If there was equality in America, will I be standing here today? You decide, fact or fantasy.
This is kosherclinician. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosherclinician. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosherclinician.
Fire! Kosher.